At Sao-Cap High School number 3 inches the area, the students are witnessing it firsthand. The scene of Lieutenant Jin Cheon-ung extracting iron from a pile of impurities and using it in battle, watching Jin Cheon-ung shatter the shield with just a pile of impurities in hand. The students can't help but be amazed, seeing how powerful he is. Wow, what they had only seen in textbooks, now they could witness it in real life. It's shocking. Among those students is our main character, Go-nyong, just like everyone else. While he is immersed in feelings of surprise and admiration at Jin Cheon-ung's performance, he suddenly hears a voice echoing in his head. Do you want to become strong? Go-nyong is not surprised at all, because 7 days ago, he started hearing this voice, and it keeps repeating. While he completely can't determine where it is coming from, do you want to possess the greatest power in this world? The voice continues to echo. Go-nyong, feeling frustrated, can't take it anymore, and shouts out loud. I want to. So will you give it to me? Just talking without doing anything. You're just a master of empty words, right? This was just an impulsive act of anger. Who would have thought that Go-nyong's insults would accidentally activate a system? The server chooses to accept the system activation test, issuing a quest. The voice continues to echo, and in front of Go-nyong appears a system screen. Extremely surreal, but strangely, a strange name appears on it. It's Sim Young-hee. He starts scratching his head. Who the hell is Sim Young-hee? He has never met an AI named Sim Young-hee, and moreover, others cannot see the simulation window. What the heck? What is all this? A series of questions arise in Go-nyong's mind until he hears a sweet female voice. Hello everyone, I am Sim Young-hee. Go-nyong jumps in surprise. Because this name is exactly the same as the one he just saw on the status window, he looks forward. He then discovers that beside Jin Cheon-ung, a girl has appeared. He introduces her once again. Her name is Sim Young-hee, here today to demonstrate elemental manifestation for the students. Not forgetting to add an important piece of information that she is the same age as them, but now she is already a soldier. The appearance of Sim Young-hee has made quite a few people amazed, as they can witness elemental manifestation. Indeed, a great opportunity to broaden their horizons. Moreover, those who can manifest elements are top-tier geniuses of the Alliance. They can't even extract elements, while Sim Young-hee, at their age, can manifest elements. Truly astonishing. Sim Young-hee stares intently at the pile of impurities that Jin Cheon-ung just used. After a while, he immediately shouted orders to his subordinates. Hurry up and switch to Thumb Thew. Sim Young-hee, another ore is unnecessary. The resources of the League aren't plentiful. Just let me use this one. Go, she replied, then began demonstrating her abilities. Go-nyong and her classmates were left in awe as they watched Sim Young-hee extract from the air. Moreover, she reused the ore that had already been extracted in the first step. Now, the main element is to help people extract. Extracting energy to stabilize the shape of the next element, based on the will of the controller. Imagining the shape of that element and finally transforming it into form before the hundreds of eyes watching. Sim Young-hee successfully transformed the remaining element in that ore into a dragon. The dragon soared in the sky, lifelike. Then, she threw out the shield that Jin Cheon-ung had used earlier. The dragon immediately snatched it, and the impurities in the iron were removed in an instant, no doubt about it. This dragon is essentially a molten iron furnace, formed by high temperatures. I'm dizzy. Yet, seeing a dragon transforming and awakening, that is the manifestation of energy. Go-nyong heard the commotion behind her. And you were so shocked that you couldn't even speak. After Sim Young-hee's performance ended, a middle-aged man appeared. Along with a few other soldiers, he stood before the students, beginning his speech. The soldier is indeed opening people's eyes wide. I believe everyone sitting here has the desire to possess great power. But becoming an energy warrior is no easy feat. To become a powerhouse like Sim Young-hee, you all must work 100 times harder, preparing for the college entrance exam. Sim Young-hee's performance, along with that man's words, indeed had a very strong motivational effect. The students now felt a surge of energy throughout their bodies. AI is also ready to welcome the college entrance exam with all their might, along with the desire to become an energy warrior, devoting their lives to the League. At this moment, Go-nyong also received a new notification from the system, with extremely incomprehensible words. Invite the host to prove their strength. Let Sim Young-hee make the sacrifice, using fire and fresh blood to light up the host's youth, illuminating the dark path ahead. Go-nyong was flabbergasted after reading these lines. Sacrifice, sacrifice, what the hell? Is this thing messing with me? The system also added that midnight is the most suitable time to perform the sacrifice ritual. This ritual requires blood and fire simultaneously. Then, it is necessary to draw a sacrificial circle on the target of the sacrifice. When finished, shout the slogan loudly, the passionate years, the blood-soaked youth, and may also use strong measures on the target. Go Nyang heard a thunderous bang like lightning, in broad daylight. What? Surprisingly, Sim Young-hee is a genius energy warrior. Offering yourself as a sacrifice for this system, are you scared of your own life too much? After reading the notification, Go Nyang asked what would happen if he failed the mission. The system only responded with 2 beeps. Beep. Go Nyang really began to doubt its credibility. However, he was determined to take the risk rather than remain stuck in this desolate land. So, Go Nyang decided to press the Accept Mission button. After this action, the system asked him to choose the mission's difficulty level. At the same time, it announced that upon completing the mission, he would receive the most powerful cleansing ritual. Depending on the difficulty, he would receive additional rewards. Go Nyang immediately scrolled through to check the difficulty levels. At normal difficulty, he would have to complete 2 missions. The chance of obtaining a primary Yang treasure is 50%, while the chance of acquiring a special power is 1% at elite difficulty. Completing 1 mission grants a 100% chance of unlocking a primary Yang treasure, and a higher chance of acquiring special power is 50%. At nightmare difficulty, the chances of obtaining both a special Yang treasure and special power are 100%, but it's no surprise that the mission's nature would be much harder for someone else. In this situation, he might choose the normal level. But Go Nyang is no ordinary person, so he decided without much thought. Challenge the nightmare difficulty because he couldn't resist such a perfect reward. However, after calming down and thinking again, Go Nyang felt that he was still not familiar with this system. So, he might as well choose the elite difficulty to proceed. The system began to provide him with mission hints. It mentioned that Sim Young-hee is a genius, but the price of becoming a genius is not small, as she had to train since childhood. Through intermediate levels, which is why she didn't have any joyful childhood days. Finally, one day, Sim Young-hee couldn't take it anymore and decided to run away from home. That day, she spent a whole day and night under a filthy drain, surrounded by the squeaking sounds of rats. Being smart, Go Nyang immediately recognized the hint in this text. Unexpected, a strong person like Sim Young-hee is afraid of rats. If so, he might have to find 10 or even 100 of them to ensure the best effect. If not, he would find one that is really big, fierce, and scary so she knows what a festival island. Meanwhile, at the Kim Suk Hotel, Sim Young-hee was diligently training, completely unaware of Go Nyang's plot. There was a knock on the door. It was Lieutenant Jin Cheonung. What's going on? Sim Young-hee paused and reported to the major that she had just changed rooms for him, just as she predicted. Moments later, she was stuffed full of love letters. These were letters sent to her from some clueless youngsters. Who would have thought the true identity of Thumb Sim Young-hee is a major, not an ordinary soldier? No wonder, back at school, Jin Cheonung almost called her by her title a few times. Returning to the current issue, Sim Young-hee seems to have quickly gotten used to being the center of attention. The pursuers didn't pay any mind to love letters, so she told Jin Cheonung to handle it himself like always. However, this time there was a letter that he paid special attention to, even wanting Sim Young-hee to take a look at it herself, because it was a letter from the son of the influential figure Dang Deok in this area. Moreover, the owner of that letter was waiting right outside the hotel. What does he mean? Sim Young-hee asked, annoyed. The power dynamics in this exiled land are quite chaotic. In recent years, relations with the capital have been worsening. The military's undercover agents have all been assassinated. If we can leverage Dang Deok to obtain inside information, it would indeed be very useful. Colonel, as he mentioned this, Sim Young-hee threw a USB at him, claiming that it contains inside intelligence from several major powers in the exiled land. Go take a look. After checking, think for yourself about what to do. Jin Cheonung held the USB in his hand, trembling with fear. He immediately nodded repeatedly and backed out of the room. Just now, even though Sim Young-hee didn't show any exaggerated expressions, it was clear that she was very angry. She wasn't stupid enough not to understand. Jin Cheonung implied that a junior, like him, should use her charm on Dang Deok's son to get inside information. So Sim Young-hee decided to vent all her anger on a punching bag, and after a few punches, her mood improved a little. A few hours later, Dang Deok's son was still outside the Kim Hotel, holding a bouquet of flowers. Moreover, he wasn't alone but had brought along a junior. The temperature was dropping. That junior was already so cold that his teeth were chattering. Brother Dang, we've been waiting for 6 or 7 hours. Sim Young-hee won't come out. No kidding. Of course she won't come out. The guy named Dang replied gruffly. Then why are we still waiting? What do you understand? The colder a girl is, the harder it is for her to refuse a handsome, thoughtful, caring guy like me, especially with tonight's rain. It will showcase our charm even more. Brother Dang, you're too poetic. With this, getting into any university in the capital won't be a problem. The junior, even as he was about to freeze, still had to flatter Brother Dang. Humph, a university entrance exam? He pulled a USB out of his pocket with a smug look. As long as this is submitted, getting into any university won't be an issue. Now we just need to take one last step. That's to obtain an internal card for this hotel and get into her room to personally present this gift of mine. I bet that the USB contains the inside information that Jin Cheon-ung wants to acquire. Meanwhile, Sim Young-hee didn't care. That son of Dong Daeok and his junior were still exchanging a few words. Then suddenly, I saw Go Nyong walking in with a gigantic backpack. They thought he was coming to bribe Lieutenant Tan. So, I called out loudly, "Wait, Go Nyong." Go Nyong had already seen the other person, but pretended not to. It wasn't until that young master called him that he couldn't ignore it anymore. So he acted dumb and replied, "You're here too? Sorry about that. Earlier, I didn't open my eyes much, so I didn't recognize you. It's not that I intentionally didn't greet you." Young Master Duong was seriously hurt by this remark, but he still held back because he wanted to achieve something big. He suggested that Go Nyong help him with something, and in return, he could help him get rich overnight. Specifically, Go Nyong had to help him obtain the internal access card for this hotel, and his payment would be $100 Union. Hearing about $100, Go Nyong immediately agreed. Then he spread his hand. "Where's the deposit, young Master Duong? I didn't expect you to be so reliable in business." He shoved about $10 Union into Go Nyong's hand. "This is your money. Once you've accepted it, you have to work well." "Oh, thank you." After receiving the money, Go Nyong immediately walked straight away. Watching him leave like that, young Master Duong's underling was not pleased at all, so he clung to him, begging, "Brother Duong, stealing is my specialty too. Give me $100 Union, and I can also do the mission for you, no problem." He received a painful slap from the guy named Duong along with 2 words, "I need you to steal the room card. Let him go. If anything happens, don't suspect me. A pawn like this is useless if not sacrificed." "Oh, Brother Duong, you really are shrewd, but with that guy carrying such a big bag, he looked just like a thief." Ha ha ha. The more he talked, the more it seemed true. Go Nyong didn't bother to pay attention to what they were saying behind his back. At this moment, he had quickly stepped into the hotel lobby. Go Nyong entered the hotel, expressing a desire to rent a room by the hour. The receptionist initially intended to refuse, but when she looked up and saw his handsome face, she froze immediately. Then, her expression changed instantly. "Oh dear, little brother. This room is just for you, right?" "That's right. Haha, how adorable. You came to coincidentally meet Sim Young-hee, right?" the other person asked again. It seemed that many people had used this trick before Go Nyong, but because he was so handsome, this older sister even eagerly revealed a secret. "Sim Young. He is in room 808 on the 8th floor." "No, you misunderstood. Actually, I came to coincidentally meet Lieutenant Tan," Go Nyong playfully replied. After all, he couldn't let others know. His goal was to offer a tribute to Sim Young-hee. Hearing this, the receptionist's face immediately darkened. "Little brother, you really know how to joke. If you have ambition, then I can't not help you. Lieutenant Tan is in room 708 on the 7th floor. I'll let you rent room 707 right next to it." Go Nyong happily thanked her. After that, he took the key and went up to the room. After he left, the receptionist kept glancing over and couldn't stop sighing because it was the first time she met such a bright, handsome younger brother. Meanwhile, Go Nyong held that room card with a heavy heart, as this room rental had cost him a whopping 40 league coins. Spending like that was really frustrating. Go Nyong decided to enjoy a little bit to not feel guilty about himself. After that, he soaked in the hot tub. While pondering a few things, Dang Daeok's son, Duong Wee-ni, was clearly here looking for him. Sim Yong-hee confessed her feelings but said she was here to meet Jin Cheon-ung. Even kids could sense something was off, let alone adults. Of course, Go Nyong knew that guy wanted to use him as a pawn, but since he was offering money right at the door, Go Nyong had no choice but to accept. Whether he'd complete the mission after taking the money was another matter. So, while Go Nyong was soaking, Duong Nien and his underlings were freezing outside the hotel. It wasn't until an hour later that he realized he had been tricked by Go Nyong. He waited outside the hotel. It wasn't until an hour later that he realized he had been tricked by Go Nyong. Duong Ningyi, furious, immediately vented his anger on his underling. "You go in and steal the internal card for me." The guy saw this and quickly negotiated some terms with Duong Wee-ni. "So if I steal the internal card, I'll get 100 Li coins. Right? Duong Yuni, already angry, became even more furious at the guy's extortion. He flipped the switch of rage, started running his mouth, and began to curse. You want money too? Are you as handsome as Gonyang? Is your academic performance as good as his? You have no looks and no talent. What gives you the right to discuss compensation with me? Get lost. If you can't steal the internal card, I'll make sure to ruin you. After Duong Winui kicked this guy away. 10 minutes later, he returned, and he really brought the hotel's internal card, showing decent performance. Tomorrow, I'll buy you new clothes, he said. The underling immediately nodded gratefully, taking the card from Duong Winui with great satisfaction. He fixed up his clothes and hair to prepare for the most important moment of his life. That was to confess to Sim Young-hee. Standing in front of room 808, Duong Winui took a deep breath. He breathed evenly many times to gather his courage, then swiped the card to enter the room. Inside that luxurious room, the air was filled with steam and the sound of running water from the bathroom, instantly making Duong Winui incredibly excited. Feeling like heaven was favoring him, perfectly timing it while the goddess was taking a shower, he hid by the doorway. He saw a hazy figure stepping out of the bathroom. Perhaps because love makes one blind, that figure clearly seemed large and clumsy. Yet, in Duong Winui's eyes, it transformed into something graceful and soft. He decided to make his move at this moment. Because even though it was a bit sensitive, romantic films often say a lot about the main couple. Usually, I go through unexpected situations like this. My heart races and my legs shake. Then, sinking deep into the river of love, Duong Winui always believed he was a master of romance. So he was very confident and decided to make his move right then. He knocked on the bathroom door 3 times. The other person noticed someone was in the room and instinctively turned around. At that moment, Duong Winui rushed in. He wanted to create an unexpected situation that would make the heart race. So he grasped the waistband of the other person's bathrobe, yanked it hard, then knelt down and held the bouquet above his head. Sim Young-hee, I really like you. I will love you for 10,000 years. After saying that, Duong Winui felt incredibly smug. He thought his smooth confession was perfect, just right to showcase his manly charm. He also believed that Sim Young-hee would be moved by it. However, as soon as he looked up, the first thing that caught his eye was a clearly defined six-pack. This was not the slender body of a girl, it was clearly a man. At that moment, 3 words flashed in Duong Winui's mind. Oh shit. Then Duong Winui instantly turned to stone. After that, he received a kick from the other person right in the face. You bastard. Who do you think you're confessing to? Get the hell out of here. Jin Cheonung's shouting was so loud it seemed to shake the building. The security staff, who heard it, thought there was a surprise attack, so they rushed up to room 808 to protect Lieutenant Tan. However, when they arrived, they encountered a scene they should not have seen. Jin Cheonung was completely naked, while Duong Winui was clinging to his leg, refusing to let go. Tears and snot everywhere. The security guards were so shocked they froze. The atmosphere in the room was so silent it felt deadly. After a few seconds, the security guards, without a word, retreated together. Then, they slammed the door shut. Sorry, Lieutenant Tan, we disturbed you. Have a good night. After leaving the room, they exchanged glances, a smile appearing on their faces, gradually losing their humanity. Captain Tan has quite a taste. That little white-faced guy is really cute. Hey. Clearly, the situation just now had dragged Jin Cheonung, a lifetime of integrity, into scandal. It's hard to explain clearly, and just now when the security team rushed upstairs, they caused a huge commotion. Even Gonyang heard it, although he didn't know why Jin Cheonung suddenly moved upstairs. But this also meant that Sim Young-hee had moved downstairs. Gonyang ran to the door, listening intently. As a result, he really saw Sim Young-hee walking past his room. This is definitely a chance for him to score. Although he didn't know what had happened upstairs, he absolutely couldn't miss this opportunity. So, 10 minutes later, through the window, Gonyang successfully broke into Sim Young-hee's room. At that moment, there was no one in the room. So even though you acted clumsily, it didn't cause any significant impact. The first thing you see in the room is a punching bag that's been beaten to shreds. Looks like there's nothing wrong at all. This is definitely Sim Young-hee's room. Next, you see a premium capsule on the table. This is what Sim Young-hee uses to store energy. If this were sold outside, it would be worth at least 1,000 alliance coins or more. Gonyang has to resist the temptation of money. He's here for something big, not just for the 1,000 alliance coins in front of him. So Gonyang starts looking for a safe place to hide, but after searching, the only feasible option is the wardrobe. While he is still hesitating whether to go in, he hears footsteps approaching from outside. Not good. Sim Young-hee is back. Go Nyang no longer has time to hesitate, so he drags his big backpack and slips inside. Just as he settles in, the hotel room door opens. He tries to stay calm, reassuring himself that he left no traces outside. Sim Young he wouldn't discover him. Otherwise, if she finds out someone has intruded, then he's done for. After that, Go Nyang hears the shower running. It seems Sim Young he went straight to shower upon returning. Go Nyang silently prays that she finishes her shower and goes to sleep quietly. After 10 minutes, the water finally stops. Instead, he hears the sound of slippers shuffling inside. Go Nyang starts to feel tense again as he clearly hears the slippers. Heading this way, Sim Young he throws open the wardrobe, almost making Go Nyang's heart stop from fear. Fortunately, at this moment, she's applying a face mask and has 2 slices of cucumber on her eyes, so she can't see anything. Sim Young he reaches for a set of pajamas. Go Nyang tightly covers his mouth, so nervous he barely dares to breathe. Luckily, after that, Sim Young he doesn't notice him and finds the pajamas she needs. Go Nyang breathes a sigh of relief. At this point, he notices that all the pajamas in Sim Young he's wardrobe are those cute bunny outfits. It seems that this young and tough lieutenant has such taste. A skincare mask, plus cucumbers and bunny pajamas. Indeed, Sim Young he is just a girl. Maybe because she has been busy all day. So Sim Young he falls asleep very quickly. However, she doesn't sleep well because she starts having nightmares. In her dream, Sim Young he finds herself back in a day and night under the sewer drain, the stench of the underground, the sound of water dripping and the squeaking of rats. Everything feels so real, awakening her most primal fears. Sim Young he opens her eyes wide in shock, realizing it was just a dream and she has dreamed that nightmare many times before. However, just at that moment, in the quiet room, the dripping sounds continue, and Sim Young he's senses become instantly heightened. This smell, along with the sound, gave her an immediate sense of impending doom. Sim Young he picked up the bedside phone to call for room service. However, the phone line had already been cut by Go Nyang. Sim Young he couldn't reach the front desk, and her anxiety deepened. And then the thing she feared the most finally happened. A mouse appeared in the room, initially just a few. But Sim Young he's psychological barriers automatically exaggerated the reality, making her feel as if she was about to be overwhelmed by hundreds of thousands of mice in fear. Sim Young he forcefully threw off the comforter, and several mice were immediately flung away. They hit the wall with a series of heartbreaking squeaks. That sound further constricted Sim Young he's nerves. She reassured herself that this was just a dream. She must still be dreaming. Constricting Sim Young he's nerves, she reassured herself that this was just a dream. She must still be dreaming. But that still didn't make her feel any better. Out of sheer fear, Sim Young he decided to leap out of bed. She wanted to escape from this room, but another mouse blocked the door. And the frightening thing was, the size of this mouse was truly enormous. Sim Young he was so scared that she turned pale, her whole body shaking uncontrollably. "Don't come over here," she muttered, but the mouse didn't listen. It let out a squeak. Then it lunged towards Sim Young he at lightning speed. Despite being heavily suppressed by fear, this girl's fighting instincts were still very fierce. In a burst of self-defense, she threw a punch. She knocked the giant mouse against the wall. The wall immediately cracked open into a large hole. Yet, Sim Young he's strike was still not enough to finish it off. When it stood up again and advanced, she was so scared that her legs went weak, collapsing to the ground and unable to resist any longer. It wasn't long before Sim Young he fainted from fear. The huge mouse finally revealed its true identity. It turned out to be Go Nyang in a cosplay outfit. Sim Young he's punch was indeed terrifying. It might have caused him some internal injuries, but in return, she had now fainted. The sacrificial ritual could finally be carried out, while Duong Winui and his junior were currently leaving the Kim Sak Hotel, cursing Tae Thien Hung as they went. The junior couldn't help but feel anxious, urging Duong Winui to hurry and avoid any unforeseen events. As a result, he got yelled at. "What are you afraid of? If we get caught, it's me who gets hit. So why be scared?" While scolding him, he grabbed the collar of the junior, making him cough. "Brother Duong, please calm down." Duong Ini was unwilling to be kicked out of the Kim Sak Hotel like this and wanted to go back. But the junior didn't dare to follow him, as they had just been warned by Tae Thien Hung earlier. It's just that the name Duong Winai is too arrogant, thinking that if Tae Thien Hung wants to interfere in this cursed land, he must seek help from his father. That's why he feels that the old man can't do anything to him in this cursed land. The social order has already collapsed. The 3 major powers are the true emperors here. If the alliance wants to control this cursed land, they must collaborate with the people from the 3 major powers. The more he talks, the more satisfied Duong Nini feels. He believes Tae Thien Hung needs him, and There's no reason for him to pick me. In his hand is still the USB containing intelligence. Duong Wi-Ni feels. As long as he holds this in his hand, even the military won't dare to do anything to him. As for Sim Yong-hee, even though he couldn't attack the beauty today, Duong Wi-Ni hasn't given up hope yet. This idiot even thinks that as long as he can cook rice with her today, then Sim Yong-hee will have no reason to resist him anymore. Hearing him ramble on, the junior gradually feels it's reasonable. Bro, you're amazing. When you can go to the capital, I hope you will take me with you. Take you with me? Then I have to see how you perform. Saying this, he took out a glass tube from his chest pocket. Inside is an extract of rosemary. A sinister smile appeared on his face. He guessed that Sim Yong, he must be asleep by now, and that rosemary scent is extremely potent. Even a faint whiff would be hard for anyone to endure. Meanwhile, Gonyang is still in room 708, and Sim Yong-hee is still unconscious. To successfully execute this plan, he must not only catch a rat but also endure for an hour under the water drain to record the lively sounds, awakening the deep fears within Sim Yong-hee. Gonyang checks the clock. The time for the sacrifice is approaching. He must go prepare a bit. The sacrificial process requires fire and fresh blood, so he takes out a lot of candles from his backpack, and for fresh blood, he uses chicken blood bought at the market. Gonyang uses chicken blood to draw a symbol on Sim Yong-hee's face. The preparation step is complete. Now there's only the final step left, which is to chant the slogan. He clears his throat a few times, then loudly says, "The passionate years of youth spill blood." At this moment, Gonyang looks no different from a simpleton. The important thing is that after he shouts the slogan, absolutely nothing happens. Gonyang is bewildered. What's going on? Where's the promised reward? Where's the trust between the two sides? The system immediately sends a notification to answer these questions. It criticizes the slogan he just shouted as not loud enough. Therefore, the sacrificial ritual is still incomplete. Gonyang must complete the ritual in 20 seconds. If not, the mission will be considered a failure. He silently cursed a few times. At this late hour, how much louder do you want people to be? If I turn up the volume, isn't that just causing a disturbance? It's a disturbance, but it's all I've got. I've done what I could. At this point, he had to go all in. There was no turning back. So, Gonyang began to take a deep breath. But just as he was about to shout the slogan again, a strong herbal scent suddenly hit his nose. The group led by Dong Nhu Enwi had taken action. That herbal scent was really effective. As soon as Gonyang inhaled it, he collapsed. Duong Wi-ni entered the room and saw him first, initially thinking he had entered the wrong room. Then he noticed Sim Yong-hee lying in the middle of the room. A series of questions popped up in this dimwit's mind. Wait, what's going on here? Let me see if you two are enjoying a candlelit dinner? No way. Why is Gonyang here? He's got guts, daring to barge into Sim Yong-hee's room. What did he do to her? Why does her face look like that? He shouted loudly, but Gonyang had no mood to pay attention to this guy. Right now, his head was spinning, and he had no strength left. While the mission was still incomplete, Duong Wi-ni felt incredibly pleased with this sight. He guessed that the drug made from his herbs had taken effect, and he planned to use Sim Yong-hee. After that, he would pin all the blame on Gonyang and play the hero saving the damsel in distress. That scene would be beautiful, but unfortunately, it seemed that would not happen, because before losing consciousness completely, Gonyang took a deep breath. Summoning all his last strength, he shouted, "The passionate years of youth bleed." This time, he nearly shouted with all his life. After finishing, he immediately collapsed next to Sim Yong-hee. Duong Wi-ni and the others were clueless about what just happened, thinking he was delirious. But then, he realized a serious issue. Perhaps he just shouted like that. It's likely someone is about to come here, and his plans with Sim Yong-hee couldn't continue. But Duong Wi-ni still wouldn't give up on his plan to play the hero saving the damsel. So, he ordered his lackeys to hold Gonyang down tightly, absolutely not letting him escape. Gonyang was pinned to the ground by these two. His consciousness was about to fade completely, but the sacrifice ritual seemed not yet complete. Gonyang was furious, grinding his teeth. "Don't tell me that broken system is messing with me. You're done for." But just as he thought that, the simulation window appeared, bringing with it the announcement he desired. The host has passed the competency assessment, completing the mission to sacrifice Sim Yong-hee. After that, Gonyang's information panel appeared. Your current blood energy value is 25 out of 101, your vitality value is 10 out of 50, and your highest latent talent is iron at 19%. Other elements like copper, tin, silver, and gold are all really low, even down to 0%. This ratio represents compatibility with energy. The element also indicates that Gonyang's compatibility with iron is 19%. Below displays your special ability as having no evolution grade, 1 out of 10, according to the system's test results. Your beauty value reaches a perfect level, but your blood, energy, and vitality values are just average. As for latent talent, it only ranks low. Go Nyang can't help but feel disappointed. Your vitality value is just average, and your latent talent ranks low. Go Nyang can't help but feel disappointed. Is there something wrong here? Perfect beauty is considered an objective assessment by the system. Those value points are all average. You could just let that slide, but having low latent talent is truly over the top. Your highest compatibility with iron is only 19%. Meanwhile, Sim Yonghee's is 90%, and Jin Cheonung's is as high as 57%. Isn't this essentially saying you're a waste? The good stuff is still ahead, because just now Go Nyang completed a mission at elite difficulty. Therefore, you will receive the baptism with the strongest power. Additionally, there's a 100% chance of receiving a primary Yang treasure and a 50% chance of getting a special power. Go Nyang doesn't know how that baptism will specifically take place. The level and 50% chance of receiving a special power, Go Nyang doesn't know how that baptism will specifically take place. But seeing the word strongest, his eyes automatically lit up. The system automatically scans the latent talent of the sacrificial object, Sim Yong-hee. It concludes that she possesses an incredibly large source of latent talent, then proceeds to replicate it. The opponent's latent talent is copied and enhances that replica. The process of replication and enhancement is successful. Go Nyang immediately sees his latent talent on the display surge. Now, his compatibility with all types of materials like iron, copper, tin, silver, etc. has reached 100%. This is truly astonishing. After that, Go Nyang has time to observe one more thing. That is the evolution index displaying 1 out of 10. He guesses it indicates the completion of evolution. Only when it reaches 10 out of 10 can this process be considered complete. So how can it be increased? Based on completing missions and, most importantly, what will happen to him after successful evolution? A superhuman? Or incredibly strong? Or a fierce Lolita? What will he look like? No one can help Go Nyang answer those questions. All he knows is that afterward, the system rewards him with a primary Yang treasure for completing the mission. And the special power is just a bit underwhelming, as it's the third rhythmic exercise. For elementary and middle school students, called youth dance, the effect of this exercise is that when performed well, it can lead to a state of happiness. In this state, the cultivation speed will increase by 50%. The recovery speed of blood energy increases by 300% and eliminates negative states. Hey system, can you retrieve this ridiculous exercise? Go Nyang muttered. If you expect me to jump around every time I cultivate from now on, that's just too much. Go Nyang, although you've never been normal, you still need some self-respect and don't be ridiculous. Ridiculous? And his lackeys didn't understand what he was mumbling about, thinking Go Nyang was too scared and acting dumb. But at that moment, Sim Yong-hee began to show signs of waking up. If she wakes up in this situation, Go Nyang would be in a very bad spot. Forget it. If I've reached a dead end, what does face matter anymore? Thinking that, he stood up abruptly. He started performing that ridiculous exercise. Duonghui and his lackeys were thrown aside by Go Nyang's sudden burst of power. He thought Go Nyang was affected by the rosemary and had a seizure. So he yelled for his lackeys to hold Go Nyang down. But when they rushed in, they were once again thrown off by Go Nyang's shoulder movement. And the important thing is that this ridiculous act actually boosted Go Nyang's blood, energy, and spirit, making him very excited. Nui couldn't believe he couldn't handle a nerd like Go Nyang, so he charged again. And this time he got hit squarely in the face by Go Nyang's kick, which hurt a lot. It's true that dealing with a lunatic is no easy task, he thought as he pulled out a knife. He intended to show Go Nyang what a festival was. But just then, there was a knock at the door from outside. Along with an urgent voice, "Lieutenant Tham, what's happening?" This scared both Go Nyang and those two punks into silence. Sim Yong-hee? So she really is a lieutenant? That damn system made me sacrifice a lieutenant. Oh man, I wonder if I can handle the consequences. Tham. Lieutenant, what's happening? Lieutenant, Jin Chonung's voice echoed impatiently. Duonghui felt a buzzing in his head. Sim Yong-hee, 18 years old, had become a lieutenant in the Alliance. This is the youngest lieutenant in the history of the Alliance. So, the power behind her must be something else. What kind of hornet's nest have I poked? While still in a panic, the sound of clattering pulled Duong Nyo back to reality. He saw Go Nyang had fully grasped the rhythm. The forces behind her are definitely not to be underestimated. What the hell did he stir up? While he was still lost in panic, a clattering sound pulled Dung Ween Wee back to reality. He saw Go Nyang had fully grasped the rhythm. getting ready to escape from this room through the window. Go Nyang, what the hell are you trying to do? Dung Wenhui was even more terrified. Actually, when he asked this question, he already had an answer in mind. Go Nyang's judgment skills are still pretty sharp. How could you be so stupid as to stay put and take it? Besides, when he arrived, he used this method, while that idiot Dung Wenhui went through the main door, so he must have been caught on the hotel's corridor camera. In that case, why not just let him take the blame for the whole sacrifice? Right now, Go Nyang has a capsule containing the reserve energy that Sim Young-hee demonstrated earlier before she swung away. He threw the capsule to the ground, shattering it in two, and the elemental dragon appeared once again. This made Tang Weini freeze in fear. Just then, Jin Cheonung burst through the door. He witnessed the entire chaotic scene. The elemental flow of Sim Young-hee had appeared. She was unconscious, lying in the middle of a circle inscribed with strange characters and bizarre patterns. The fresh blood in the room carried a herbal scent, and the only intruders were Tang Wein-ye and his lackeys. In this situation, even if Tang Wein-wei had 100 mouths, he couldn't justify himself. He was sent flying by a punch from Jin Cheonung. You bastard! How dare you drug Lieutenant? Lieutenant Tan. It's not what you think. Let me explain. Tang Weini panicked. But how could Jin Cheonung trust him when the witnesses and evidence were clear before him? Rage surged as Lieutenant Tan truly wanted to take this bastard's life. But just as he prepared to throw another punch at Tang Wein-wei, something unexpected happened. Sim Young, he's dragon. In danger of another punch, something unexpected happened. Sim Young, he's dragon. It seemed to have entered a berserk state, and she was now standing upright, her face devoid of any expression. She looked more like a machine. You can't scare me. I'm not afraid of you anymore. Absolutely not. Jin Cheonung called out, but Sim Young-hee did not respond. He sensed something was off. He quickly ordered his subordinates to retreat as the dragon let out a roar. Then it thrashed around in the cramped space, causing the room to shake violently. Tang Nai was also struck by it, immediately losing consciousness. The USB containing internal intelligence that he wanted to use to rise to power was of no use in this situation. He fled. Jin Cheonung shouted loudly, then bolted with his subordinates. Surprisingly, Sim Young-hee could not only manifest energy but also absorb it. Manifesting and absorbing together is the manifestation of destruction. Given the current situation, the Kim Hotel might collapse. Meanwhile, Go Nyang and his gear were about to descend down to the ground. During the descent, he witnessed part of the power from Sim Young-hee's dragon and had to admit it was even stronger than he imagined. If I had known that dragon was this strong, I would have kept that capsule to sell it. At least I could have made 5,000 alliance dollars. Go Nyang landed successfully, but then something fell on his head, and it was the USB from earlier. Duong Weini had dropped it, but at this moment, Go Nyang still didn't know what it actually was. Why did this thing fall from up there? Go Nyang wondered, but still put it in his pocket. You never know when it might come in handy. He had planned to leave the Kim Hotel, but then he remembered he hadn't checked out yet, so he went back to the front desk for a bit. At that moment, the receptionist was on the phone, mentioning Jin Cheonung with a rather serious tone. After checking out, Go Nyang sprinted back to his apartment. Indeed, in a more dangerous situation, a person's IQ can shine through. That previous encounter was truly breathtaking. Gao Nang didn't know if those two idiots had spilled the beans about him, nor did he know if Jin Cheonung was investigating, whether or not he was exposed, or if Sim Young-hee had time to see his face. But anyway, everything had passed for tonight. Relatively smoothly, Gao Nang believed everything would turn out fine for him. After running quite a distance, when he estimated there were no more problems, he finally stopped to catch his breath. It was only now that he remembered the Yang treasure system was still not open. Go Nyang immediately opened it up and received a cleansing pill. This has two effects in two cases. First, when the blood and energy values are not full, it can temporarily boost them to maximum limits. Second, when the blood and energy values are full, it can reassess these two values as needed. Go Nyang held the pill in his hand. Even after an hour, unexpectedly his hand smelled so good that he could open something as great as this. Speaking of latent talents, it shows the level of control and derivation of power, like in games. It's similar to a powerful skill. All of Go Nyang's latent attributes are now at 100%. Only the energy value, blood, and spirit are still half full. So this cleansing pill, this is the light in the darkness of his life. Go Nyang returned home in an exceptionally cheerful mood. His mother was already dozing off at the dining table. He tried to tiptoe so as not to wake her, but in the end, Zilan still woke up. Woken by the sound of her son's footsteps. You're back? Aunt Lu gave 2 eggs and a piece of meat for you two. Reheat for you to eat during the meal. Go Nyang. informed his mother about his wish to take the entrance exam for the military university in the capital. Hope. He firmly stated that he would definitely pass. The registration fee is 1,000 dong. Alliance, you'll also find a way yourself. No need for her to worry. Zilan was already used to her son's independence and trusted him, so she said nothing more. Gonyang knew that if there was meat at home, she would hold back to save it for him, so he even tried to feed her a few pieces. Mom, wait until I pass the military university. We'll move to the capital. I hope we can eat meat every day. Mom, wait until I pass the military university entrance exam. We'll move to the capital. I hope we'll have meat to eat every day. Tulan nodded. I'm sleepy now. Go to bed. You should sleep early too. You have school tomorrow. Make sure to finish the remaining meat, okay? Go. Nyang looked at the plate of meat on the table and couldn't help but sigh. He then became even more determined to become the family's pillar so that his mother could have a happy life. He kept thinking. He inadvertently developed a strong desire for wealth, and the system detected that strong desire and automatically triggered a mission. As a man, you must cover the sky with one hand. He might not have strength, but he couldn't lack money. Youth must be filled with passion. That 1,000 dong registration fee doesn't prove a man's worth. He truly must keep moving forward. Brave enough to challenge himself 100 times over, Gonyang skipped the lengthy mission introduction to dive into the main content. Then he was shocked because the mission content was to earn 100,000 alliance coins within 3 days. What the hell is this? Gonyang pondered silently, helplessly sighing heavily. Earning 100,000 alliance coins in 3 days is no different from going to rob a bank, right? As he looked at the screen, a crazy thought popped into his head. So, the next mission I have to do is to rob a bank, right? Then he stood inside the scanner. Shortly after, the system appeared and analyzed the normal difficulty level. The system would provide the host with 2 pieces of information related to completing the mission, which could help the host succeed. Completing the normal difficulty, the host could receive a 10% reward from 100,000 dong, and moreover, 100% would receive yangbao. The primary context of elite difficulty, the system provides you with 2 pieces of information related to completing the mission, which could help the host complete the mission. Completing elite difficulty, the host could receive a reward of 50% of 100,000 dong. Furthermore, 100% would receive yangbao. In the primary context, 10% will receive intermediate yangbao. With a mischievous glance, it was proud and full of confidence. Nightmare difficulty, we are born talented. We are the luck of the new world. Not to be pressured or forced. Starting the mission is to take risks. Completing nightmare difficulty, the host will receive a reward of 100% of 100,000 dong. Moreover, 100% will receive intermediate yangbao, and 10% will get a lucky draw opportunity. After the system narrated the choices to make, then it advised, time is money. Please choose the difficulty quickly. Careful selection will help the host grow. A bicycle can turn into a motorcycle, but before transforming, you must look up. Check if your luck aura is sufficient. Standing in the middle of the scanner, he blankly stared for a second. Go Nyong raised his middle finger and gritted his teeth in annoyance. This stupid system even knows how to draw in intermediary profits? Keeping up with the times, huh? Now is not the time to feel helpless. He smiled and accepted it, tapping the screen in front of him. Alright, isn't it a challenge? A real man certainly dares to face challenges. A hidden talent minus 50% is not the issue, but earning 100,000 alliance coins in 3 days. Why should I be afraid? As soon as Gonyang pressed the highest difficulty, he quickly switched to another option. I choose normal difficulty. This caused the system to freeze up, and then the screen displayed. The system will provide the host with 2 pieces of information. Related to completing the mission, it can help the host complete the task. Complete normal difficulty. The host can receive a reward of 10% of 100,000 VND, and furthermore, there's a 100% chance to receive a primary Yang treasure. Upon seeing these options, he smirked, understanding the issue. This condition really wanted others to walk the path of crime. After careful consideration, he chose to prepare stronger than everything else. Just then, the system chimed in. Suggestion. The metal storage device that the host picked up inside may hold the answer. Seeing the item in his hand, Gonyang thought in confusion, is this really considered a hint? The story of Laozi picking up the storage device. Why is this your hint? Are you mentally challenged? Then the system dropped a second hint. 2 a.m. is when the defense is weakest. It's also the only opportunity. Please prepare carefully, host. Hammer, wrench, shovel, otherwise, the mission will fail. After hearing this, Gonyang held his head, really wanting to get depressed about robbing a bank. Looking at the screen, he secretly speculated. This second hint is clearly the key from earlier. If tempted to choose the elite difficulty, it would really lead to failure. With his talent, he calculated meticulously. Indeed, when it's time to prepare, one must prepare thoroughly. Gonyang sat in contemplation in front of the computer screen. He gently inserted the memory card into the hard drive. When he opened it, the first thing that surprised him was that there was a folder with double encryption. With his discomfort, he secretly insulted this ridiculous system. If he weren't a top student, this hint would have been a total failure. Afterwards, he clicked on the folder and exclaimed, "Done with the wire." After that, it ran and completed more than half the time. When successfully logged in, he was astonished by this information. This seems to be a cross-sectional map. The internal structure of somewhere seems to be the bank's treasury that feels unstable. Go-Nyang leaned closer to the screen and was shocked by the fact that this map was incorrect. It looked like a factory, and there were various types of dangerous weapons arranged. Wait a minute, it seems like the top has this 2-character label. He saw the name appear before his eyes, astonished, stammering. From the origins of the Great Catastrophe, when mentioned here is a long, painful history. It is a hydrotechnical artifact of the Great Catastrophe. Since the first manifestation until now, this world has gone through a period of upheaval, lasting for 100 years, continuing with a bitter tone, even today. From the origins again brings to humanity a new civilization, inventing many cocoons, the uprising of energy warriors. All are closely related to the origins. After finishing, he pondered his own knowledge limits. But I only know about the dual word like that. The land of exile now doesn't qualify to receive intel about dual words anymore. Go-Nyang zoomed in with a skeptical tone. He tried to search for the answer. Why is there a label for a dual word on this map? Could this be a dual word? But that's not right. A dual word could be a workshop. After realizing it, he widened his eyes, utterly shocked. A dream toy workshop. A toy workshop related to a dual word? Looking at the map, Go-Nyang felt a bit disheartened. The location was quite far, and it had closed down 4 months ago. In an instant, strange objects appeared on the screen. Then he spoke up indignantly. What the hell is this? No way, are there still people who believe in this stuff? And then the headlines popped up. Stories of spirits killing people, a girl in a red dress dancing, a boy wearing a mask. Seeing this, he reassured himself, wanting to clear the mess in his head. Clearly, someone is talking nonsense. He took a sip of water to calm himself with a pensive expression. He synthesized the information he had in confusion and difficulty. The first hint provided a location. The second hint had time and tools, but a closed workshop, robbing a bank would be easier than this. And then he came up with a sharp deduction with a hopeful gaze. Unless there really is a dual word in this workshop, or at least something related to it. Dual word. Thinking of those signals, he felt awkward and confused. The hint reminded him to bring a hammer outside to hit someone. What else could he do? After imagining, he took a sip of tea and comforted himself. You got this. It's probably the same. With a disheveled expression, Go-Nyang envisioned something not so bright. And the hall must be for burying corpses. With a determined face, accompanied by a hint of resignation, he pushed the chair back and declared, regardless of whether it's a kidnapping or a ghost robbery, it's still a robbery. Just that he can't rely on this tiny strength to charge in. Then, bringing a glowing pill to his mouth, it seemed like he had to wait until nightfall. As he chewed it, he felt relaxed, like a little paradise. The mint flavor was cool and very pleasant. But the next moment, suddenly his body trembled violently. No way. It's so cold that my joints are freezing. And then he fell over onto the floor. At this moment, Go-Nyang's whole body felt like it was about to burst. He grimaced, dazed, his joints cold like ice, while his blood was boiling hot. After realizing, he sensed an ominous premonition, then hugged his neck with a pale face. This pill is poisonous. In a life and death moment, he gasped and cried out in suffocation. Go-Nyang lay sprawled on the floor, shaking and shouting, "Damn, trying to kill me?" Immediately after, Go-Nyang gasped for breath. He focused on the screen, blood value 64 out of 140, energy value 28 out of 63. Seeing the progress bar rise, he widened his eyes in surprise. Is this what it feels like to level up? Right after that, he felt a heaviness in his eyes. But then, with a worried expression, Go-Nyang stared at the system screen. It seems like I'm losing blood. If it continues like this, will I? Just then, it felt like lightning struck him. He hurriedly shouted, "Pause. Just pause for a moment." Suddenly, the system appeared, delighted. Notification. Detected that the host's blood value has reached the maximum of 200. May I ask if it is late now? Start breaking the limits of the body. Not hearing that, Go-Nyang glared. He grumbled, "Show yourself. Break your head. Give me a break." Break? Break it. Before he could finish, it quickly responded. Confirmed, starting to break. Hearing this, he wore an utterly pained expression. He held his stomach and writhed, shouting, "This damn system. Are you trying to kill me?" After that, Gonyang tried to hold on, choking back words. "I can't continue like this. I can't take it anymore. I could die. I have to endure. Just practice one move first." The next second, he started exercising while murmuring numbers. 1.234, 2.234, 1.234, 2.234. At the same time, the progress bar gradually increased, until he was exhausted, reaching the last number, 6. The system popped up to congratulate him. As soon as he said it, he fainted. The host has successfully broken the limits of the body for the first time. In his stupor, Gonyang slowly opened his eyes, looking dazed. "Where am I?" After looking around, a strange aura surrounded Gonyang, and he exclaimed joyfully, "So comfortable. This feels amazing." At the same time, the energy flowed into him, causing his body to emit light. After a while lost in a dream, he woke up, his eyes wide open, and then he was breathing and wondering, "I'm not dead yet?" At that moment, he felt his hand gripping something. He exclaimed, "Open your palm." A thick, black goo was oozing down onto the floor. Smelling a strange odor, he grimaced and shouted, then rushed to the bathroom. "It stinks! What is this?" Inside the bathroom, Gonyang scrubbed off all the filth. He waited, soaking himself in the hot water. After regaining his composure, Gonyang contemplated the power within him, feeling like he had truly grown stronger. Next, a system interface appeared, displaying, "Name Gonyang, blood value, 15 out of 201 successful, breaking the limits of the body for the first time, rated as very good aptitude. Cultivation speed of blood value reached 20%, energy value 8 out of 96 successful. Breaking the limits of the body for the first time, rated as very good aptitude. Cultivation speed of energy value increased by 17% with an excited expression. His eyes lit up, the limits of blood value and energy seemed nearly doubled. One could say, "I now have the foundation to become an energy warrior," just like that. He continued to excitedly analyze, as legends say, someone who has broken the physical limits once will have the foundation to become an energy warrior. Can grasp the basic energy combat methods, such as energy extraction techniques, even before becoming an energy warrior. Can break the physical limits twice, thus possessing many energy combat methods, such as energy fusion techniques, energy refining techniques, and so on. Thinking of this, Gonyang fell into contemplation. He envisioned a majestic image, imagining if he could break the limits 3 times, with fiery ambition in his eyes. He smiled confidently, declaring that all he needed was to obtain a few more marrow core pills. Then he could become a once-in-a-thousand-years martial arts genius. After cleaning himself up last year, only a wet sponge remained on the floor. On the other side of the elegant room, Hoa Dung Duk stood sipping a cup of wine. The vice principal of the 3rd high school, Dang Deok, was on the bed, with a young lady displaying her fair back. Then, with an excited gaze, he poured wine onto the young lady's back. Artfully, this was indeed art. And then, the wine spilled onto the vibrant red flower tattoo. Just then, Dang Deok's phone suddenly rang. The caller was Jin Cheonung. At this moment, he regretfully got off the bed, answered the call with a somewhat surprised expression. "Commander. Midnight, noon, looking for the old man. What is it?" At the same time, the fierce voice from the other end of the phone shouted in panic. "It's a big deal." Following up, he announced, making Cho Dang Deok exclaim in shock. "What did you say? Nguyen Ni attacked a lieutenant?" Then he frowned, showing confusion. At this moment, Ya Yoon and 2 lovely grapefruits lay on the bed. "Which lieutenant?" "Sim Yong Hee. Isn't she one of your soldiers?" "Jin Chon Ung. Are you messing with me?" After hearing that, he immediately hung up in anger, then kicked the chair beside him hard, causing one of its arms to break off. Finally, Dang Deok, frustrated, clenched his fist tight, his voice filled with rage. "All right, Jin Chonung, daring to play games with me in the dark." As he lit a cigarette, his tone turned helpless. She sat up, puffing smoke, and pressed him. "What trouble has your precious son caused this time?" she added with a grimace. Dang Deok was fuming, starting to rant about that fox Jin Chon-ung hiding the identity of Sim Yong-hee. "Now you're telling me Sim Yong-hee is some kind of major, and saying your son attacked her. Damn it, do you think I'm a joke?" Hearing this, Ya-eun with a sharp gaze, elegantly stared at the major. "It seems like your human alliance's purpose in this land of Devong isn't simple, huh? Could it be that you leaked that information?" Seeing this, Dang Daok quickly responded in utter shock. No way. After pondering with a face like he'd bitten into a lemon, he doubted the intel about that, not knowing how much. If it really got leaked, it must be because there's a problem on Wang Gu's side, the Human Alliance's intel network. It's not simple. Are you sure there's nothing wrong on Wang Gu's side? Then, with a completely disdainful look, she flicked the cigarette and calmly replied to the old man. Aside from being impotent, what else could be wrong? Seeing he was still hesitating, he quickly leaned in and said playfully in a seductive tone, I still like you. Let's continue our artistic creation here. Following that, Dang Daok refused without flinching. Art comes from inspiration. If the inspiration is gone, what are we creating? You should head back to Wang Gu's workshop for now. I have to go to Kim Sak Hotel. After hearing that, she immediately understood and took the initiative to leave. Clearly fond of men like that. Doing art like you, even rejecting someone is so classy. As he stepped out to the balcony and opened the door, after showing off, with a gentle face mixed with a bit of pouting, she sweetly said, then I'll head back first. But next time, you can't reject me again. In an instant, as he vanished, he left only a light breeze behind. Dang Daok stood still, silent before this breath of air. A second later, his expression shifted, furrowing his brows, followed by a cold stare. Dang Daok turned to go inside, his face calculating. He uttered, what now, Jin-chan? I know where what you need is, but the prerequisite is that you have to find a substitute sheep. Take the blame for my son. No matter what, you must ensure his safety. And then, with an unwavering tone, he emphasized, if you can't do it, then there's no need to discuss further. At this moment, Thien Hung was in a meeting with his subordinates, pondering as he looked at the content on the paper. Just a moment later, Thien Hung, his brows knitted, the information written, rent a room by the hour, room 707. Check-in time is 8:59 p.m., guest name Go Nyang. With a curious gaze, Thien Hung immediately inquired, room 707 was checked in by AI? Just then, the receptionist, looking terrified and slightly trembling, stammering, I did it. After giving her a suspicious look, he asked, Go Nyang, who is that? How old? In response, she hesitantly answered, around 10 to 17 years old, seems like a student from BA High School. He said he came to find you. Do you know him? Hearing this, Thien Hung was slightly taken aback. He muttered, looking for me, a student from BA High School. Then, with a determined tone, he ordered his subordinate to contact Lai Thon Bin, inquire about this Go Nyang, and ask for his address. Then, he called for a few people to bring him here. After that, the soldier replied without hesitation, understood, in a sinister tone. He whispered to himself, Go Nyang, this pawn in disguise isn't bad. The next morning, 2 soldiers stopped at a ruined village. Before them, with eager expressions, they asked each other, this is Go Nyang's address, right? Yeah, it's here, inside Go Nyang's house. He left a note on the table. Tonight I have to go to a friend's house to study. After that, with burning determination, he packed his things and thought, Mom has to work 5 jobs at the same time, only comes home at night. Just then, the system notified him of the man's responsibilities. Looking at the screen, he reminded himself, this mission must be completed quickly. After finishing up, he eagerly opened the door, ready to set off as soon as he opened it. A man was standing right in front of him. Seeing the man, Go Nyang called out in confusion, Mr. Trong. He noticed the strange items in Go Nyang's hands. Go Nyang was startled, feeling anxious, and then with an extremely surprised expression, Mr. Trong asked, Go Nyang, what do you want to do with that? Then, with a blank face, he smiled and replied, Good morning, Mr. Truong. I'm getting ready to go to school. Seeing this, he was astonished and wanted to wipe his sweat. Taking a hammer to school, what's up with that? Go Nyang calmly responded with an innocent demeanor as if nothing was happening. Yes, last time on the way to school, I saw a rock and thought it could be dangerous, so I'm preparing to smash it. Mr. Truong was not an ordinary person. He said, to succeed, you have to fix the road first. Continuing, he explained further. And this wrench, you know, I'm the amateur repairman at our school. Just casually bringing a wrench is very normal. And then with a distant gaze, Mr. Truong looked a bit sad. So, is this shovel you're taking to dig and fill the road? And then he excitedly replied with a bright face. That's right. Mr. Truong is really sharp. Just one look and you see through my plan. This shovel is for digging to fill the road. Right after that, he anxiously glanced at the shadows behind him. Then, with a serious look, he sighed, Go Nyang, the path ahead doesn't need fixing anymore. Come with me for a moment. As soon as he finished speaking, the people behind him slowly moved up. Seeing that, The boy was stunned, standing in silence. In front of the soldier's appearance, Teacher Truong's gaze turned somber. He looked at the boy with sadness. Finally, Gonyang was completely shocked. He thought to himself, he had just come here early in the morning. Faster than he expected, with a worried expression and boundless sympathy, Teacher Truong began to explain with understanding. Gonyang, you have been my student since grade 10. I have been your homeroom teacher. I know you very well. I know you wouldn't do anything wrong. Yet afterward, with a determined gaze and no fear, Gonyang firmly interrupted him. It's okay, teacher. Let's go. Following that, with an encouraging and passionate demeanor, he placed his hand on the boy's shoulder earnestly and said, It's fine. Let me go with you to explain. It will be all right. Just like that, Gonyang was taken away to another place. He was confused, not knowing how to handle this situation. His gaze fell into deep contemplation. Soon after, the car stopped at a tall building. They led him to a room and invited him into Tianheng's meeting room. At that moment, with a scrutinizing gaze, he pressed on. Tan, is that him? Following that, with a confused expression, she quickly replied, Yes, that's him. But just a moment later, Tianheng raised his hand signaling, That's enough. He approached the boy with a stern look. Then, with a serious expression and a cold stare, Tianheng majestically asked directly, You are Gonyang, right? Do you know why we brought you here? After looking around, he had guessed some parts. Then, with a contemplative mood, Gonyang reflected deeply within himself. This situation was clearly discussed in advance. Next, with a sharp gaze and insightful analysis, he wisely closed his eyes and continued to reason. An ordinary person in this situation would 99% start thinking about an alibi or try to stay calm, not knowing what to say to escape suspicion. Then, he opened his eyes wide with confidence, feeling quite smug. But am I really an ordinary person? Then Gonyang threw his backpack forward. Seeing this action, Tianheng was shocked and confused. He pursed his lips in anger. Just a moment later, something funny happened. He hugged Tianheng's leg, crying and saying, Lieutenant Tan, don't kill me. I was wrong. This was my doing, Principal. Please don't expel me. I know I did something wrong. Please don't expel me. I won't dare to do it again. Seeing that, Tianheng was surprised and exclaimed, Is this a confession? Following that, with extreme dissatisfaction and a scowling face, he looked quite frustrated. Damn it, can you be a bit tougher? Not to mention resisting, but at least you should defend yourself a little. And then the exasperated, skeptical gazes were fixed on him. Is this really the top student? They keep saying he's a genius, but he must be something special, right? The quality of students these days really is getting worse. At that moment, Thon Bin stood up, patiently urging him gently. Gonyang, as a man, the most important thing is to dare to act and take responsibility. You must have ambition. Hurry up and tell us everything you've done. If there's anything you feel is wrong, you can explain. Continuing on, Dang Diok smirked with ulterior motives. Putting on a facade of forgiveness isn't wrong. Gonyang, quickly admit to the mistakes you've made. Realizing your faults and correcting them is what makes a good student. Next, with a tempting gaze, he placed a hand on Gonyang's shoulder and suggested, Start by recounting what you did. With quick intuition, Gonyang suddenly remembered something. A spark flashed in his mind. Recount? Could it be that they didn't team up with that Duonghui guy? That Nui? Or maybe Duonghui did something happen to him and he got taken down by Sim Yong-hee. At this moment, Dang Daok's eyes were filled with excitement. Then, Gonyang keenly analyzed the situation in detail. The reason Dang Daok came might be to find a substitute. If Duonghui is dead, would Dang Daok still look for a substitute? That wouldn't make sense. Then, a moment later, Gonyang naturally lowered his head and started to cry. This left Cho stunned, and then, with a remorseful expression, he shifted his focus. He hugged the man's leg and repented, saying, Yes, he had indeed let down the expectations of the principal, the vice principal, and even Mr. Trung. He had been so cunning and opportunistic. He shouldn't have gone to that hotel to look for Lieutenant Tan, nor should he have tried to go through the back door like that. Hearing this, the man was utterly confused and interrupted. Wait, student Gonyang, take your time and explain. He said he wanted to go through the back door with Lieutenant Tan. Continuing, Gonyang looked embarrassed and clumsily defended himself. He pointed at Tianheng. I said Lieutenant Tan wouldn't let me go through the back door. Isn't that right? He still hadn't gone through the back door with Lieutenant Tan. In short, he had let down the expectations of the principal and the teachers. After hearing this, the man looked like he wanted to devour him whole, and he exclaimed angrily, Are you messing with me? Am I asking you about going through the back door right now? Then, Tianheng grabbed his collar and harshly questioned, Let me ask again. Why did you go to the Kimsak Hotel to rent a room by the hour? Then Go Nyang sniffled and replied tearfully, I rented a room by the hour because I wanted to go through the back door. Following that, Thien Hung's face darkened, and he mocked, liar. Who did you think you were going through the back door with? Seeing this, he wouldn't back down and reiterated with that lieutenant. With a calculating tone, he tried to justify himself cleverly, making the man feel a headache. I wanted to establish a good relationship with Lieutenant Tan before entering university. That way, I might have a chance to get into military school. After checking into the hotel, I still haven't met Lieutenant Tan. That's why when I heard this, Thien Hung gritted his teeth and turned around. What did you just do? With a tone of urgent explanation, Go Nyang hurriedly presented his case. I just left there. I had to check out. I also don't have money to rent a room anymore. Plus my mom is waiting for me to come home for dinner. I didn't know that even this matter was investigated by everyone, and then you acted like a professional actor. Tears streaming down, Go Nyang clung to Dang Daok's legs. I promise I won't dare to use the back door anymore. Please don't revoke my eligibility for the university entrance exam. Seeing this, Dang was panicking. He couldn't understand and advised Go Nyang, stop crying. That evening, you ran to Kim Sak Hotel, spending $40. The Alliance can't just let you go through the back door. That's not right. You have a good relationship with Lieutenant Tan, right? Also, can you get your foot off me? The soldiers around all widened their eyes, mouths agape, thinking, with this scared look, you still want to take the military university entrance exam? Dream on. This is a gathering place for those with iron will and strength. How can it harbor such weaklings? Looking at the scene before him, Ban Bin frowned slightly and sighed. With a heart-wrenching expression, Go Nyang secretly plotted with disdain. Disdainfully, not only wanting you to look down on them, but also, with the developments in mind, he schemed, thinking that the most important thing was to want Sim Yong-hee, who was watching from another room. Disdain. At this moment, Sim Yong-hee was observing him from afar through the screen with a proud tone. He continued to speculate that a lieutenant of Thien Min was an extraordinary genius. A pinnacle existence like that. How could Sim Yong-hee let someone else knock her out and leave such a mark in her life? Moreover, getting knocked out by a coward like that. Finally, with a mocking gaze, she turned around and pressed him. Is this the assassin you caught? A lieutenant's self-respect like mine is worthless now, right? With a serious face, Than Bin, with a sharp gaze like a razor, advised, Go Nyang, you should stand up first. The matter of wanting to take the military university entrance exam, we all know, but from now on, no more backdoor actions. Got it? Go Nyang, holding Dang Daok's leg, respectfully replied, got it, thank you, principal. Then, with a determined and understanding look, Than Bin turned to explain, Lieutenant, it's very clear now, to be honest. This kid Go Nyang has been performing very well these past few years. I see this matter is clearly a misunderstanding, still holding Dang Daok's leg. Suddenly, he retracted his leg and hurried forward. Then, Dang Daok sat down with a warm smile and a knowing look. He added, Old Lee, I actually feel like you do, that Go Nyang cannot have committed any crime. However, since the army has arrived, let the lieutenant conduct a little investigation first. Hearing this, Than Bin hesitated slightly, but then, continuing, Thien Hung crossed his arms coldly, with a sharp gaze, and bluntly replied, Principal Lee, you are a teacher, so of course, you would have hopes for your students. I can understand that, but to deceive and avoid investigation in front of Jin Chonung, I'm not that easy to fool. Next, with a smug expression, he rushed to grab Go Nyang's shirt, loudly asking, You punk, do you even know how the army conducts investigations? After that, he pretended to fall backward, causing the atmosphere to grow solemn. Then, he faked a bit of blood and lay on the ground, clutching his stomach in agony. Using leftover mouse blood stunned Thien Hung, making him halt in his tracks. Instantly, with fiery eyes, he raised his voice. Kid, are you pretending to be dead in front of me? I haven't even used any force yet. But then, Than Bin's expression changed. He slowly walked over with a furious gaze. You are in front of me, and you're abusing my student. Seeing this, Thien Hung stammered, unsure how to explain. This punk, he's just pretending. Then, with a determined expression, Than Bin stood in front of him, continuing to criticize. Aren't you going to stop? Do you still want to use violence against an innocent student? After all, you are part of the army. You need evidence for everything. At this moment, Teacher Trung had come to help him up and was challenging him. It's fine. If there's no evidence, we won't accept it. Thien Hung was pushed to a dead end. He stammered out his evidence. I saw this punk running to the Kim Suk Hotel at midnight to rent a room. The intention was clearly suspicious. Hearing this, Than Bing questioned with disbelief. Renting a room is considered evidence? Isn't that just too unreasonable? Moreover, how does Go Nyang know who is in the next room? Just then, the receptionist raised her hand, trembling, to explain. Go Nyang didn't know what I told him at that time. The next room belongs to Lieutenant Tun. Then Thin Hung shot a glare at her, catching the frightened gaze of the receptionist. After thinking it over, she wasn't scared, and straightly stated, "The truth. It's the truth. I can testify for Go Nyang." Seeing this, with a triumphant face, Than Bin immediately said, "Lieutenant Tun, did you hear that? Do you have any evidence now? If you don't, on behalf of all the leaders of the 3rd high school, I request that you release him right now." After hearing this, Thin Hung stood frozen in place. He clenched his fists, unsure of what to say. At that moment, Go Nyang concealed a victorious expression. Asterisk, "I'm sorry, Lieutenant Tun, based on your methods. Asterisk, asterisk. It's very likely that you've discovered I used the cleansing pill to break through my physical limits. Asterisk. We can only rely on your acting skills to get us out of this." Just then, a soldier opened the door and the captain rushed in with an urgent expression. He reported solemnly, "Duong Nguyen and that two are awake now." Upon hearing this, everyone turned their heads in shock. The soldier continued with more information. "Moreover, Captain," both of them said. Before they entered the room, Go Nyang was already inside. Hearing this, Thien Hung smirked and shot a side eye at him. And then, with a thoughtful expression, he suggested, "Duong Wei and Atu are awake. We might need Principal Duong, Principal Li, and Teacher Truong to lay low for a bit. We might need Principal Duong, Principal Lai, and Teacher Truong to lay low for a bit." Dang Diok, with a smiling face and a mischievous look, was acting innocent. "Of course, Duong Ra, this happened to me. Then I have no face left, nor do Lao Li or Lao Trong. Let's go. We must trust the military, trust Lieutenant Tan, right?" Right after that, with a resolute and calm face, he turned to reply, "All right, Lieutenant Tan is a soldier. I trust the military, but before this is clarified, I absolutely will not allow you to abuse my students." In response, Thien Hung confirmed, "I understand. I won't lay a hand on Go Nyang anymore." Next, he sternly ordered, "You all can leave. Leave someone to guard the door. Bring Duong Wing Wei and A2 over here." After that, the soldiers all left the room. Now only 2 people remained in the heavy atmosphere. A moment later, Thien Hung sat down and calmly said, "Student Go Nyang, let's wait a bit." In the meantime, with an anxious face, Go Nyang silently lamented, "I've already acted out. Blood has already been spilled. It was so hard to escape the blame, and now Duong Nini wakes up. This can't turn out like this." With a desperate look, he helplessly asked himself, "What to do now? Am I going to die?" At that moment, the door slowly opened. Go Nyang glanced over there, and Yuan Yi and A2 were heavily supported by soldiers. Then, with a resentful expression, Nguyen Yi pointed at him and accused. A2, standing beside, nodded vigorously. "Lieutenant Tan is him. It's Go Nyang. When we entered, Lieutenant Tham was knocked unconscious by him. We only did it to save Lieutenant Tham." Hearing that, he immediately scrutinized student Go Nyang with a searching gaze. "Do you have any explanation for these words?" Immediately, Go Nyang put on a clueless, innocent face, scratching his head and asked, "Who is Lieutenant Tham? I haven't even entered Sim Young. He's room. How could I know about some Lieutenant Tham?" Seeing this, with a slightly surprised look, Thien Hung commented, "It seems Go Nyang really doesn't know." At that moment, Nguyen Yi interjected, "He's definitely furious. Last night, he really did enter Lieutenant Tham's room. He was on Lieutenant Tham's bed at that time. We were still fighting. He kicked me, didn't he?" A2 listened and asked suspiciously, "So you two are framing him, huh?" Then, in a fit of rage, Thien Hung slammed his hand on the table, shouted to stop, and moved to grab his collar. He rebutted fiercely, "The room of Lieutenant Thumb was drugged by you guys. If Go Nyang was in that room, he would definitely be unconscious. If that's the case, how could Go Nyang, being unconscious, fight back against you too?" Next, with a suspicious gaze, he turned to look at you. "Go Nyang, is that true?" Then, Go Nyang waved his hand and stammered in denial, "I don't understand what you mean by drugs." Immediately, Thien Hung smiled faintly with a sarcastic look. "Seems like you really don't know." Then, he pressed on with intense questioning. "But you were next to Lieutenant Thumb's room, so with such loud noises, do you dare say you knew nothing?" "Go Nyang, you're lying." Next, Thien Hung smugly exposed. "Go Nyang, do you think you're smart enough to deny all of this? You're wrong. Your words are full of holes." Just then, a serious voice rang out. System notification. The host's heart rate is 139. A mission will be unlocked to suppress the host. In life, nothing is impossible, only things that cannot be completed. While you're young, you must not act recklessly. Facing challenges is what you should do, as required by the mission. Within 1 minute, you must shout loudly, "I am the one who did that" to Sim Yong-hee, for the mission to be considered complete. The penalty for not completing the mission will be lowered by 1 level, not just a simple 5 to 9. And then Go-nyong got frustrated. He gritted his teeth and cursed inwardly. "Scream my ass." Hearing this, Thien-hung frowned and rushed over, standing before him with extreme anger. Go-nyong sighed in exasperation as the system reported only 45 seconds remaining. At this moment, he defiantly responded, "Not wrong. I lied, but isn't Lieutenant Tun also lying?" Then, with a suspicious attitude, Go-nyong pointed at the other two and questioned, "You want to help them escape blame, right?" Hearing this, Thien-hung shouted angrily. He then took a step back. Go-nyong couldn't contain his frustration, staring directly into his eyes. "If not, why are you staring at me all the time? Just because I rented a hotel room?" And then, with a bitter tone, he expressed his dissatisfaction. "Speaking of which, you had already discussed this with Principal Dung and wanted me to be a scapegoat, right? Renting a hotel room?" At this moment, Sim Yong-hee was closely watching his every move on the screen. Then, with a faint smile, Go-nyong pointed and accused, "Actually, you colluded with Principal Dung. You wanted me to be a scapegoat for them." Then Thien-hung shouted angrily, "Brat, how dare you speak nonsense." Immediately, he crouched down, pretending to be terrified. "Don't come over here. Are you trying to kill me to silence me?" Hearing this, his gaze darkened, emphasizing his words. "What do you mean eliminate witnesses?" "I am." Immediately, Go-nyong screamed in fear, "Murder! Murder to eliminate witnesses. Is there an AI? Help me." Seeing this, he raised an eyebrow in sudden confusion. Thien-hung grabbed the collar of his shirt and sternly threatened, "If you don't shut up, I will." Thon Bin and Teacher Truong hurriedly opened the door and rushed inside. Teacher Truong worriedly exclaimed, "Go-nyong! Go-nyong, are you okay?" Just as he opened the door, the scene before Thon Bin unfolded. It left him stunned. He was seeing Thien-hung aggressively grabbing the boy's shirt. At that moment, Thon Bin, filled with rage, loudly criticized Jin Xiaoneng. "You're a lieutenant, yet you can't keep your promise, resorting to brutality against a student?" At the same time, Teacher Truong stepped forward with a concerned look. "Go-nyong, are you still all right? Are you okay?" Suddenly, the boy pulled back his hand, leaving him bewildered. "Go-nyong, you." Then, Go-nyong clutched his chest and gasped for breath. Seeing him like that, Thon Bin, with a compassionate face, reached out to comfort. "Go-nyong, you don't have to be afraid. With the principal here, I won't let any AI harm you." At that moment, he was thinking to himself, "If I've started, I must see it through, and it must be impressive." But time was running out, and there was no other way. After deciding, he gritted his teeth. Finally, with a manic expression, Go-nyong stuck out his tongue and burst into a carefree laugh. "You all want to accuse me, right? Anyway, my life is already miserable enough. Don't you want me to admit it? I admit it." Then, he danced around with a nonchalant attitude, leaving the three of them wide-eyed and gaping. "I am the culprit. I did that with Sim Yong-hee. What can you do to me? Come on, what can you do to me?" In an instant, Thien-hung stepped forward with a look of shock. "So you've confessed?" Unexpectedly, Go-nyong wore a wild smile. He confidently declared, "That's right, I did it." At the same time, a hand naturally reached out. Teacher Truong covered his mouth with his hand, then with eyes full of sorrow, he reluctantly exclaimed, "Crazy, crazy, Go-nyong is really going insane. The military, are you forcing a child to go insane like this?" And then, when Yi pushed, Thien-hung eagerly urged, "Hurry up," he confessed. "Quickly catch him. Let us go now." While Go-nyong was lying there, throwing a tantrum, then the system announced, "Congratulations, the host has completed the next mission." In an excited tone, the reward wheel was set in motion, and then the arrow stopped at the *** deprivation, I***. After seeing his eyes light up, the system continuously praised, "Congratulations, the host has received the *** deprivation, I***. The 5-day usage trial, the Eye of Deprivation. It can deprive one of the 4 great cursed woods, disguise wood and all camouflage. Once set up, you can see through all the essence of power. After viewing, Go-nyong stood before the information abyss. The trial. I'm risking everything just to exchange for a trial version. Just 5 days? So what needs to happen for this trial to become the official version? At this moment, it had a sarcastic tone. The blunt reply, add more money, use your brain. Without more money, how can you use the official version? And yet, you still complain about this damn system. Meanwhile, Teacher Trung was trying to intervene. Go Nyong, stop talking, don't say anything, I'm sorry for you. After watching everything, Sim Young-hee sat down, puzzled. Are you crazy? Then, with a serious expression, she tossed her hair back as a signal. Lieutenant Trun Tin Hung immediately responded, yes, sir. Then, in a decisive tone, Sim Young, he smiled and informed Dr. Vung. Call him over here. At this moment, in the room over there, the peaceful meeting room, Thien Hung was confronting someone. While you sat there dazed in a corner, the system was pissing you off to the point of isolation. With an anxious look, he clearly stated, Lieutenant Tan, as the principal, I must be responsible for the safety of the students. Now, I want to take Gonyang to the hospital. However, Thien Hung was adamant against it. You are obstructing military law enforcement. I did not lay a hand on Gonyang. You can check the cameras. After hearing this, Thon Bing pressed, did I just leave, return, and I won't see my student again? Immediately, Thien Hung rebutted, Principal Lee, you must trust the military. A moment later, Thon Bin, with a suspicious look, retorted, I trusted the military too much, leading you to push Go Nyong to the brink of madness. Upon hearing this, Thien Hung gritted his teeth and couldn't say anything. Just then, Trun Bak, along with the doctor, walked in. He interrupted the argument. Captain, seeing the person, he was surprised to call out Lieutenant Trun's name, along with Dr. Vung's. Why are the two of you here? He coldly explained briefly. This is an order from Major Thumb. In a serious tone, Tran Bak respectfully made the request. Dr. Vuong, please check Gonyang's condition right now. He then pushed up his glasses and smiled lightly. This made Gonyang restless, his face pale. Well, let's check a little then. At this moment, Cha-Cha declared, pointing at the two guys beside him. And you two, let's check you as well. Hearing this, both of them were utterly surprised, exclaiming, Us? Why do we have to be checked too? Continuing, Tronbach replied with a serious demeanor. He replied in a low voice. It's like this. Both of you have head injuries. In an injured state, illusions can appear. Therefore, we need to ensure that what you say is the truth. Illusions can appear, so we must ensure that what you say is the truth. I hope you two can cooperate with the neurological examination a bit. Seeing this, Win-Wei outright opposed. After a moment of hesitation, we're not getting checked. There's nothing wrong with our nerves. This was caused by Gonyang. He has already confessed. Then he frowned. With a warning tone echoing throughout the room, this is Lieutenant Tham's order. Do you want to go against the military's decision? A second later, Dang Daok clapped in agreement. Since it's the military's decision, of course, we have to cooperate. Please proceed with the examination, Doctor. With full confidence, Cha-Cha firmly asserted to put everyone at ease. Vuong Cha-Cha, after being trained in neuroscience, has met many patients with neurological diseases. Never once failed to check anyone. At this moment, his calm yet worried gaze shifted from the doctor to him. He cautiously asked, what exactly does the examination involve? Then, with a self-satisfied tone, Cha-Cha described the plan as very simple. I ask a question, as long as they can answer. This proves they have no neurological issues. If they can't answer, then their nerves are definitely problematic. After hearing this, he asked in confusion, is it that simple? Seeing this, he uncomfortably cleared his throat. Principal Lee, can SAO doubt our professional abilities? With a panicked expression, Thon Bin hurriedly waved his hands. He replied flustered, Dr. Vuong, that's not what I meant. After hearing this, Cha-Cha didn't care and replied loudly, there's no misunderstanding or lack of understanding. This is our professionalism. Although Vuong Cha-Cha, for most of the time, I preside over surgeries in the surgery department, I have a senior brother. He has over 45 years of experience at the neurology hospital. Just then, his tools fell to the ground, and he confidently lifted up a large instrument, a testament to professionalism. Just like I said earlier, I usually head the surgery department at the military hospital. Therefore, I always have to carry surgical instruments. This is a display of professionalism. Seeing the sharp blade, everyone fell silent. Then, in a straightforward tone, Cha-Cha commanded powerfully, no more talking. Quickly line up. Let me start the examination. Meanwhile, Go Nyong, with a worried look, thought about the uncertain future. If I really get diagnosed with a mental illness, I might end up locked in a mental hospital, wasting time on a mission that's urgent. What skills do I even have? But if I don't get diagnosed with a mental illness, Then, my earlier confession will be considered true. Then, he squinted with cunning, calculating carefully. I wonder if I can trick them by pretending to be insane. Cha-Cha stood behind the glass. He sharpened the knife and spoke clearly, making them sweat and nod repeatedly. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. You three can answer together. Got it? With a mysterious expression, he set up a dramatic hypothetical scenario. Now, I want you to imagine. You are being chased by a killer. The three of you run into a bathroom. Inside the room is a bathtub full of water. There will be a secret door there. The next step is to choose the lucky person. Only by opening the door underneath can you find a way out, but only when the water in the tub has drained completely. You can then enter, and Cha-Cha pointed to the items next to the bathtub, a basin and a spoon. You must make the right choice. Now, answer without hesitation. Niwi excitedly raised the basin. I'll go first, I choose the basin. Then he swung the knife toward Nini, startling him. You clearly have a mental illness with a face as pale as a leaf. He cried out pitifully. No, I'm not insane. You're a quack. You must be working for AI. Dad, save me. Dad, tell them I'm not insane. Haha, those with mental illness always deny they have it. Are you confessing without being beaten? Next up is a 2, hesitantly making his second choice. Then, I choose the spoon. The moment after, the saw blade jabbed into his head with extreme delight. Cha-Cha laughed harshly, concluding, You're also insane. Seeing this, everyone around froze for a few seconds. Everyone was baffled, wondering how it got to this point, and then, with a keen, scrutinizing gaze, he slowly approached. You're left with the student Gonyang. Will you choose the basin or the spoon? In response, Gonyang calmly replied, I won't choose anything. Hearing this, Cha-Cha asked with suspicion. So what are you planning to do? Let me tell you, breaking this water tank is not possible. You can't even move that tank. Immediately, Thonbin questioned sharply. That's enough, Dr. Vuong. This question of yours doesn't have an answer. With a relaxed face, he calmly responded, I would choose to lift the drain plug out of the bathtub. Hearing this, Cha-Cha stood in front of him and confirmed with a skeptical look. Lift the drain plug? Are you sure? Without hesitation, he replied, I'm sure. Right now, Gonyang is face to face with him, making those two tremble like leaves. And then, Cha-Cha unexpectedly placed a hand on his shoulder, gave a thumbs up to Gonyang, and broke into a bright smile. Alright, your nerves are perfectly normal. In such an urgent situation, a nervous patient would choose to scoop the water out of the tub. Only a normal person would lift the drain plug. You don't have any nerve issues. Next, he turned his head. Then he cautiously probed. Does anyone have any objections? Seeing this, Tran Bok immediately applauded enthusiastically. None. Dr. Vuong is indeed very professional. Next, Thonbin also nodded in admiration. That's right. Dr. Vuong is really very professional. After hearing this, Wen Yi, looking upset, vehemently protested. No, that's not fair. You're a quack. You didn't say it was possible to lift the drain plug. I'm not crazy. You're the one who's crazy. At this moment, in a sharp tone, Cha-Cha held a knife to his throat. A patient with nerve issues not only denies being crazy but also accuses others of being crazy. Your condition is concerning too. Aren't you going to admit it? Seeing this, he burst into tears. Dad, save me. Suddenly, someone slapped him across the face. The next moment, Dang Daok grabbed his collar and shouted, You're the one who's crazy. Do you understand? You're crazy. At this moment, he held his face, dejected, struggling while mumbling with a torn soul. I'm not crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. Wait, I'm crazy. Then, he glanced back and pressed. Thien Hung, Lieutenant Tran. My son has been checked and diagnosed with a nerve condition. I don't know how to handle this next. Continuing, Thien Hung sighed and provided a solution. First, take him to the Military Medical Institute for treatment. Wait for the condition to improve. The military will continue to evaluate. With a doubtful expression, Dang Daok was troubled. If that's the case, how will Gonyang handle it? It's now confirmed that there's no nerve issue. So what about his confession earlier? Right after that, Tran Bok spoke up decisively, leaving both of them stunned. No, Lieutenant Tham has orders. As long as Gonyang passes the nerve test, he can go home. Just as he was about to leave, Tran Bok held Gonyang back and kindly advised him. Gonyang still had some reservations. I want you to cooperate with the investigation. Take this phone and keep in touch 24/7. Got it? And then, you replied naturally, all right. At that moment, Gonyang was leaving while thinking, Sim Yong-hee suddenly gave me a phone. There must be something going on. Next, he smirked with a calculating expression. No matter what, I'm about to get 10% of 100 million. And then there's the primary Yang treasure. I just need to quickly increase my power to truly protect myself. At the same time, Sim Yong-hee was scribbling in her notebook. At that moment, she was stunned by two statistics. Go Nyong, perfect beauty score of 100, acting score of 59, IQ of 60 meeting the requirements, combat power of 2. Sim Yong-hee has a perfect beauty score of 100, an outstanding acting score of 99, an exceptionally high IQ of 99, and an unmatched combat power score of 99. Then, she frowned in confusion with a clueless expression. I completely outscore him in numbers, so why did I get knocked out? Could it be that I was dreaming? It must be a dream. Then, Sim Young-hee looked at the photo placed on the desk, lost in thought. Am I dreaming or not? A little probing and I would know right away. That photo is of her. Then, she cleared her throat, looking incredibly pompous. Go Nyong, tonight I'm going to broaden your horizons a bit. What is real acting? What is IQ? Just then, your phone suddenly rang. Next, Go Nyong suddenly sneezed. He raised his hand to his nose and muttered like an old man. Just sneezed out of nowhere. Someone is talking bad about me. Seeing this, Thanbin and Trung followed him, worried. Go Nyong, are you sick? Why don't you go home and rest today? You have the college entrance exam coming up. You can't afford to get sick. With thoughtful concern, he offered, your home isn't far from the school. We can give you a ride back. In response, he waved his hand and smiled lightly. Thank you, principal. I can go back myself. Seeing this, Thanbing didn't insist anymore. All right, be careful. Right after that, he sighed deeply. This kid, Go Nyong, although he has good grades, his combat ability is too poor. It's going to be tough for him to get into the lowest rank of the military university. At this moment, he had left and was heading to the bustling street below. Two beauties ran up, clinging to him in a sweet tone. Come play with us, big brother. Then, Go Nyong arrogantly asked, is there a big brother with a six-pack, body fat under 5%, weighing 100 kilograms? Then, he walked away with swagger, with a very dismissive attitude. There's none, right? Then don't block my way to have some fun. Go Nyong hailed a taxi and hurried away. Hey, tell the driver to head to the Northern Mental Hospital. In response, he asked again. Kid, it costs 25 league coins to get there. Think carefully. At this moment, he haggled with a cheeky tone. 10, 50, 67, can't pay more. Seeing him like that, the driver was helpless. You can just go on your own. Forget it, kid. You really know how to bargain. Just as he sat in the car, the driver looked at the bag and curiously asked, it's so late, and you're carrying such a big bag. Are you going to the hospital? Go Nyong replied nonchalantly. No, I'm just traveling. Immediately, the driver raised his eyebrows in surprise. He couldn't believe it, saying, what are you messing around with right now? Traveling? As far as I know, the northern area is a desolate land. Kid, where are you traveling to? After putting on the mask, he replied mysteriously, causing driver Cho to feel a chill. I'm going to the psychiatric hospital for a trip. Just as he started to sweat in fear, the radio in the car suddenly announced, we now have a breaking news update for you. Recently, strange occurrences have been reported near the Northern Psychiatric Hospital. Currently, 2 people have gone missing in the area. Please move safely to avoid any unexpected incidents. After arriving, he slammed on the brakes. Then the driver grinned, his face pale. I see you have a certain charisma. You must be an extraordinary talent. Today we'll make a bond. I'll only charge you 15 league dollars. Go Nyong held the bag, smiling as he spoke. After that, he accidentally dropped a hammer from the bag. You're really a nice guy, thank you. Seeing this, the driver looked like he might faint. Gold glanced over. Then he enthusiastically raised the hammer and casually said, this is just for fixing the road. I saw a rock at the hospital entrance and thought it might trip people, so I brought the hammer to flatten it. At the same time, a wrench also fell out. He saw this and was taken aback. Is this also for fixing the road? Continuing, Go Nyong explained like a consultant. The hammer is unusable, so I brought the wrench instead. After that, his heart raced, legs trembling. He replied, the guy in the car is a bit tight. You can get out of the car first and pay later. Hearing this, he nodded in agreement. You're right, I'll get out of the car first. Then he stepped out. As he got down, before he could say anything, the driver quickly shut the door and sped off. He called out in panic. Hey, the fare. Immediately, Go Nyong frowned. He wondered, what's going on? Could that driver actually be a good person? That's right, earlier he said today would be a good bond. This driver is indeed a good person. Just then, a motorcyclist stopped across the street. Looking at him, Sim Yong-hee stopped her bike. She wore a mysterious smile, staring directly at the psychiatric hospital across the street. If that's the case, I'll show you what a textbook psychiatric condition looks like. At that moment, in Dang Deok's castle, he shouted angrily, "Lieutenant Tan, I want an explanation for today." Dang Deok sat cross-legged in his chair, dissatisfied, speaking over the phone. "If your ability is limited, then can't I find another partner to represent me?" Then Thien Hung interrupted him, expressing his caution. "You're talking about Sim Yong Hee, Dang Dek. This can't be leaked. Not everyone in the league agrees to cooperate." Continuing, Thien Hung earnestly explained. "I probed her once to see if she would cooperate with you guys, but she turned it down." Hearing that, Dang Deok replied indifferently, "Whether you believe it or not, Sim Yong Hee, she really has no intention of cooperating with your three major powers." Then, Thien Hung, skeptical, retorted, "Brother Duong, don't try to scare me. Are you saying this time the alliance isn't coming to regulate but to purge?" After that, with an urging tone, Thien Hung, always impatient, said, "So hurry up and give me that thing. Making a contribution is the best option." Upon hearing this, Dang Deok suspiciously asked, "How am I supposed to trust you?" Then, Thien Hung didn't care about trust and just kept talking. Just a moment later, he hung up, leaving Dang Deok confused. In the end, Dang Deok exploded in anger. He threw the phone away and yelled, "Is this how you beg? Do you think begging me a little will kill you? Beg me a little more and I'll give it to you." Then, he closed his eyes, trying to stay calm and patient a little longer. "Jin Chonung will definitely come to beg me again." And then, in a smug tone, Dang Deok consoled himself. "After all, the intel I have is also from this mysterious person in the black cloak." Inquiring, Dang Deok still hadn't revealed the intel about the response. Ya-un knelt down, full of sincerity, still couldn't see, still hadn't negotiated good terms with the alliance. If he handed it to the alliance, I would no longer be of value, and he wouldn't let me over there anymore. Continuing, she thought, calculating with a cunning look, "Then let's put a little more pressure on him. As long as he lets the alliance's people come to the workshop, then he would have no other choice left." Hearing Dang Deok say that, this time the alliance also has a lieutenant coming over. "Do we need to prepare a bit more explosives in that workshop?" After hearing that, mysterious person quickly replied, "You go arrange it." At the same time, at the mental hospital under the moon hanging high, inside, Sim Yong Hee was disguised as a patient with mud layers on her face. After that, she put on a wig and whispered excitedly, "No matter how you look at it, it's still a crazy person. It could scare someone to wet their pants at midnight." Then, Sim Yong Hee eagerly looked into the detector to see why Gon Yong hadn't arrived yet. Next, she realized this and quickly stuffed the detector into her pocket and walked away. By this time, Gon Yong was about to open the door. Sim Yong Hee hid behind the door. Seeing a hand reach out, she was anxiously thrilled as the door opened. Sim Yong Hee jumped out and screamed to scare someone, but in front of her was a strange, chubby man. Seeing that, she screamed in fear. Sim Yong Hee's scream echoed throughout the building. Hearing it, he was annoyed and grumbled, "It's night already. Can't it be quiet?" Crazy people are definitely not easy to deal with. At this moment, Sim Yong Hee took that guy down with just one hit as he lay sprawled on the ground. She gritted her teeth and fixed her hair, not expecting that a crazy person would actually show up. Looking at the detector, Sim Yong Hee wondered in shock. What is the Gonyang toy factory doing here? Over at Gonyang, he walked into a room and trembled while criticizing. How long has this place been abandoned? It looks so dilapidated, with all these exorcism tools scattered underground. Along with that were a few streaks of red blood on the floor. Then, he firmly gripped the hammer in his hand and declared boldly, "Why bother tonight? I need to use this hammer to take care of these guys." Gonyang slowly moved inside. As he stepped in, a strange gust of wind suddenly blew, and a figure jumped out from the front. Gonyang quickly swung the hammer, and a second later, he stopped when he realized it was just a stray cat. Instantly, Gonyang put the mask back on and cautiously said, "From now on, I need to keep my face hidden. Even if the cat scratches my face, that's not good." Meanwhile, in the other room, someone was watching him on a screen. In the surveillance room, a tall guy scanned the area and showed a look of disdain. "That punk really isn't afraid of death. Just a few days ago, one guy died, and now he comes to respond to the king sitting in shock." Sitting on the chair, they have no other options. These broke dogs just want to come here to scavenge whatever's left. It could be useful though. Next, he picked up the walkie-talkie and impatiently shouted, "Hello, hello, is the actor team there? If you're not dead, get to work." The other side quickly responded, "Yes, is there more work? Is it a male or female?" Then he urged in annoyance, "Male, don't think nonsense. This isn't playtime." He's about to reach the factory door. You all hurry up. He'll be scared if you act quickly. Today you'll get paid, and tonight I'll take you all out. Hearing this, everyone cheered. Hey, where are you taking us today? Then he smiled mysteriously. To a new place. I'm not telling you anything else. Just get to work first. After you're done, let me know. I shot a glance at the chubby guy. Tonight, I'm going to party hard. Then one guy cheerfully spoke up. Don't worry, this isn't our first scare. This is our line of work. Just as he finished, he threw the walkie-talkie onto the table and scoffed. A line of work? Just a bunch of extras. But it seems they're still very committed to their craft. Over there, the guy who just replied stuffed the walkie-talkie into his pocket and signaled to the rest. All right, let's get to work. Next, the leader passionately said, what is our dream? To be actors. Even though we've killed a few people now, that doesn't matter. Upon hearing this, they replied, got it. Next, the captain emphasized each word, with a hint of pride, our intentions are pure. We have a dream. Even though we're just extras now, we still have to fulfill our duty. From an actor, you guys understand? Immediately, he excitedly shouted, very good. What is our goal? The three juniors responded fiercely, full of excitement. Follow him, piss your pants. At this moment, Gonyang was observing all around. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and shivered, murmuring, is there really a ghost? Why do I hear the sound of the wind? Just then, he felt something like lightning strike his ear. Gonyang instinctively turned around to see a shadow hanging in the middle of the room. It stuck out its long tongue and made some creepy faces. Seeing that, he widened his eyes. Then, quickly stepping forward, Gonyang prepared to charge in with the hammer. The guy was joking around and was startled, feeling a chill. Without hesitation, he smashed the hammer into the guy's head. A man appeared, blood gushing as he lay sprawled on the floor. Standing in front of Gonyang, annoyed, he scolded, who told you to pretend to be a ghost? You scared the hell out of me. He shook his head in exasperation. With a contemptuous tone, right in front of the greedy gaze, pretending to be a god or a ghost, he didn't care. Life and death were already bad, and now you're scaring people. Truly, there's no mercy. As soon as he finished dealing with it, he groped around for objects near him. Just then, the system popped up with a report. Congratulations, host, you've defeated a ghost. But the target gave no rewards. May I ask, how do you feel? Then, Gonyang, without holding back, tossed it away in frustration. Damn you, if I had to rely on your broken system to eat, I would have starved a long time ago. After that, he held the cash in his hand and counted it with excitement. Anything that can't be obtained, people snatch away talent, is the path to wealth. After checking the loot, he stood up and joyfully exclaimed, striking it rich. This place is at least worth 500 alliance coins. Then, with a calculating tone, Gonyang quickly calculated. One ghost is 510. The ghost will be 5,000. The mission target is 100,000. I need to defeat 200 ghosts. There are so many ghosts here? At that moment, another guy pretending to be a ghost picked up the radio and listened to the announcement inside. Trin 2, I'm Toothan. That long-tongued kid hasn't moved for a while. What's going on? Upon hearing this, Trin 2 replied indifferently, who knows where he went to fish. Just scaring a kid. Why is the long tongue taking so long? Shortly after, a crashing sound was heard. The other end of the line listened carefully. What's that sound? In response, he proactively said, I'll go check. Then, Trin 2 hid behind the wall, confused. Looking ahead, a ghost is 510. The ghost will be 5,000. There are so many ghosts here? After that, he slowly approached. At that moment, Gonyang suddenly stood up as if sensing something. He raised the mask and stared wide-eyed, turning around. Seeing that, Trin 2 screamed in horror, causing his wig to fly off. Mom! Quick as lightning, his eyes lit up as he chased after him. Second child, don't run. Right after grabbing them, the air became completely silent. He pulled Trin 2, then assessed the situation with confidence. At this speed, taking down 200 demons in one night isn't impossible. Then, Gonyang held the hammer and wrench in his hands, full of energy, declaring, after breaking through the limits of the body, dealing with this stuff for the first time is honestly as easy as pie. Then he looked at the axe stuck in his backpack. He pondered, must be used for burying demons, right? A second later, Gonyang silently looked at Trin 2, sighing, but digging now, after burning, then burying, would take too long. Instead, he came up with a new idea, catch a few more, then bury them all at once. At that moment, two other scare tactics also stepped in. The clown interrupted him. Where did this crazy guy come from? daring to disrupt the conversation next to him aggressively. How could he dare to rob his brothers in such a close space? We're really bold. Seeing two fat targets right in front, Go Nyong's eyes sparkled like car headlights. Money? This is money coming right to the door. Then he mysteriously grinned with the two weapons in hand, causing the two to shiver in fear, followed by a series of loud screams echoing throughout the Juma building. This kid is really strong, killing and saving lives. Where the hell did this crazy guy come from? After finishing up, Go Nyong prepared to leave, self-reflecting. Being the champion is truly a lonely thing. Counting the money again, his heart blossomed with joy, walking. This little money came too easily. I'm about to get rich. Then he paused at another building with a look of concern. 4 demons had already appeared outside. There should be even more inside the workshop, right? Then he entered with an unusual calm. Go Nyong took slow steps, not in a hurry. After searching, he still couldn't find anyone, circling around several times. Yet there wasn't a single one. No way. Now he only had 2,000 alliance coins. This place should have at least 196 demons jumping out to be enough. Then Go Nyong fell into deep thought. I can't leave empty-handed. If there aren't any in this workshop, then I'll switch to another workshop. Just then, a hand with a strange tone landed on his shoulder, startling him. His pupils dilated. Instinctively, Go Nyong swung the hammer backward, then adjusted the Sim Yong-hee mask in front of him, dragging the bear along, smiling eerily. Then Sim Yong-hee picked up the bear and tore it in half. She pondered and recited a creepy poem. 10 little dwarfs bustling for a meal, 1 choked to death. No way to save the 10, only 9 remained, standing in front of the new demon. Go Nyong arrogantly hurled the hammer toward her, pretending to be a god or a ghost. Before my hammer, any demon or monster is just paper tigers. But when he struck, Sim Yong-hee perfectly dodged. She stood behind him and leisurely hummed. 9 little dwarfs awake in the night. I'm really tired. I could just turn around and sleep to death. Then, out of 9, only 8 remain, seeing that he takes the hammer from behind. Well, her shadow has vanished, leaving only the poem with the chorus. 8 little dwarfs searching for the strange inn. The past left 1 behind for the heavens. 8 dwarfs are now down to 7. 7 dwarfs chopping wood, cutting branches awkwardly. 2 axe swings, 1 dwarf stays behind. 7 are now down to 6. Next, Go Nyong trembles with the hammer in hand. He was surprised, furrowing his brow as he remarked, "This demon doesn't seem quite right." Sim Yong-hee continued her tale. 3 dwarfs faced disaster. A bear fell from the sky. 3 are now down to 2. Go Nyong quietly assessed. This isn't a female ghost. This is a crazy person. What children's song is she singing? Counting down like this is really scary. Moreover, her movements are too fast, even for someone who has broken through their limits. Even I can't keep up. It seems only Sim Yong-hee suddenly exclaimed. 2 people, he hurriedly advised. Wait, sis, no good kid sings scary songs like this. Let me play a different game with you, okay? She cheerfully asked. So can I dance? Is that all right? Go Nyong agreed. Dancing is fine. What do you want to dance? In his heart, he silently calculated. Only a crazy person would dance with her at this time of night. Come a little closer to see if he would use the hammer to smash her face. She extended her hands toward him. Let's do a clapping dance. I'll clap once, you clap once. That's acceptable. So we'll dance a clapping dance. He slowly brought his hands behind his back, 6 items in his backpack. His expression gradually became serious. The opportunity was coming. She had let her guard down. Just 1 more step closer. I can kill her before that so I can see who this fake ghost really island. Go Nyong's eyes began to scrutinize the girl. Hair messy in front of him. Information about this person gradually scanned through. His eyes showed disbelief. 5 people appeared clearly before him. He couldn't believe it was Sim Yong-hee. Why is she here? Have I been exposed? Sim Yong-hee reminded. Hey, let's dance. Go Nyong could only temporarily delay. Yeah, 2 sounds. She signaled. He claps once, I clap once, a chicken goes cluck cluck. At that moment, in the room, Hwang Ya and Mak Din were still sleeping. Suddenly the alarm clock rang loudly. Ding sat up immediately, saying, Get up, it's time to report. Hwang Ya was annoyed. Aren't those fake ghosts supposed to report yet? Has he not checked? Let me see after reviewing the surveillance footage. Mak Ding couldn't help but curse. Hwang Ya found it strange and leaned in to ask, What's wrong? What did you see? Both were stunned, a scrap collector and a mental patient. They seemed to be dancing a clapping dance. Hwang Ya exclaimed angrily, Damn it. So what are those fake ghosts doing? How could they let these 2 in there? Don't want to do this anymore or what? Ding noticed aside. Hwang Ya, look over here. In that corner are 4 guys lying motionless. He was worried. Huang Ya, what should we do? Go out and kill those 2? Huang Ya angrily scolded. Stupid. Do you know who dies the fastest? It's those idiots who always think they're right. Like you. Can't you see those 2 are clearly not ordinary? Report to the higher-ups immediately. He obeyed. Yes, yes. On the side, Go Nyong was deep in thought. Is Sim Young Hee monitoring me? Did I get exposed or is she on a mission? Just happened to run into me. Sim Young Hee wasn't done having fun, calling. I clap 3 times. You clap 3 times. 3 dogs bark woof woof. You have no choice, no matter what her purpose is. She has no evidence anyway. I clap 4 times. You clap 4 times. 4 mice squeak squeak. Just then, you slipped up and covered your mouth tightly. Sim Yong Hee immediately realized. Her eyes sharpened, and she marched towards Go Nyong. So it was you. Go Nyong felt guilty. I've fallen into a trap. Sim Yong Hee asked him directly. You knew it was me all along, didn't you? Otherwise, why would you squeak like a mouse? How could you recognize me? Who sent you here? Don't you know how to explain? I'm done for. Done for. 1 misstep and it's all over. Now whatever I say will just be me begging for mercy. Go Nyong's hand holding the hammer twitched slightly. He lifted the hammer up, ready to fight. Sim Young Hee used one hand to block the hammer, and it suddenly melted away. Only the wooden handle remained. Sim Young Hee coldly said twice in a row, assaulting a lieutenant. This crime is not light. In her hand was the molten iron from the hammer. Go Nyong turned and ran. Because he knew very well, a warrior with the power of actualized energy must at least break through. 3 times at the limit already. Can't win. Running is the best option. How could Sim Young Hee let him run away? You think you can escape? Chains shot out from her, grabbing Go Nyong's legs, and he fell to the ground, exclaiming, This is the arrogant Sim Young Hee, asking if he has any last words? Go Nyong tried to negotiate. At my youthful age to leave last words is a bit early. I can explain. Suddenly, he shouted, Sim Young Hee, watch out behind you. She thought he was just messing around, about to die and still using this trick. You think I haven't finished speaking? Sim Young Hee sensed real danger. She quickly defended against the attack from the stranger. Makoto was surprised. The iron energy manifested. Interesting. Behind him were 2 more people. The 2 people behind spoke simultaneously. I didn't expect to encounter a master like this in this desolate land. It's a pity. You seem to have only come alone. Sim Young Hee exclaimed. Looks like there's something unusual about this factory. She turned to Go Nyong and asked, Are you all part of the same group? He denied. I don't know them. Sim Young, he asked. Just to clarify, I don't feel that way either. Otherwise, you would have been dead already. Mai evaluated her. The intel is off. This girl doesn't seem like your average crazy person. Miss To replied, I heard there's a lieutenant in the Alliance with similar energy. Could this be her? She doesn't look much like her picture. Zert Tho doesn't care. It's just one person anyway. Just deal with it directly. No need to talk too much. Makoto spoke up. If she were a military lieutenant, I would have introduced myself. I am Ito Makoto, 33 years old, still unmarried. May I ask what your surname is? Sim Young Hee was surprised. My surname is Kao. I am a student at the 3rd high school. Go Nyong with a curious expression. So, you're a beauty. It's a pleasure to meet you, but why are you disguising yourself like this? After saying that, the power from his palm surged out. Sim Young Hee quickly activated a defensive formation with her foot. Makoto suddenly laughed. Beauty Go Nyong, you fell for it. His fist pierced straight into the sharp dragon claws, the blinding light causing discomfort for Go Nyong. It's midnight, and you're still playing this light pollution game? Do you have no conscience? He suddenly noticed something strange. The 3 of them were ambushing Sim Young Hee alone. She was holding her own against them all. Go Nyong was astonished. This is a battle between energy warriors. The system reminds that the host is about to be killed. Should I activate a new mission to save my life? Of course, I agree, with a bit of a heroic flair. Activate. Activate. The system reminder activated a new mission. 1, 2, and even 3 tasks. Within an hour, I must defeat Sim Young Hee. If I can take her down once, I can do it twice. The passion of youth needs no explanation. Men are just like that. With such talent, Go Nyong angrily threw it to the ground. I can defeat Sim Young Hee. Then why do you need me to save you? He suddenly remembered. Wait, the mission hint means there will be system notifications, inviting the host to choose the difficulty level. Nightmare difficulty? I'm not stupid. What else is there to choose at this point? I'd be an idiot to pick nightmare difficulty. Just give me the hints already. System reminder, successful, selected nightmare difficulty. The self-born is the most useful. What's the use of this hint? No need for many words, just face completing the nightmare difficulty. The host will 100% receive a mid-level Yang treasure, plus there's a 10% chance of activating the lucky spin. Go Nyang felt a chill run down his spine. With AI, it's just a matter of dying early or late. Suddenly, an explosion erupted behind him. He turned to see Sim Yong-hee's dragon claws surrounded by flames. That was Makoto's intention. Even the toughest things can melt under heat. Let's see how I melt you down. What are you gonna fight me with? Go Nyang easily recognized that the burning goat demon was real. This person is the energy manipulator of the burning goat demon. Continuing like this, the Iron Dragon will truly be melted by the burning goat demon. But the premise, Sim Yong-hee is only using ordinary iron energy. This is a dragon filled with spiritual essence. The energy manifestation is about to transform into the Qi-Long zombie. The Qi-Long zombie fully takes shape, its roar echoing loudly. Makoto turns pale with fear. How can this be? No. He immediately becomes prey in Qi-Long's mouth. The other two are frozen in fear. Go Nyang is horrified. A warrior's energy has suddenly turned into this. Sim Yong-hee coldly asks, "What's next?" The two AIs step up first, bracing themselves for a desperate fight. Energy manifestation? Activate. It's truly more terrifying than I imagined, but I've lived enough to handle it over the years. Today, I will give it my all. To fight against her energy manifestation, Go Nyang here. Amai responds, "Let's go together," and both charge toward Qi-Long. Just then, an explosion erupts. The smell is sulfur, an unpleasant scent that makes him cover his nose. Amai unleashes her special ability, wrapping tightly around Qi-Long, preventing it from struggling. Each thread of energy wraps around the dragon's body. Go Nyang feels triumphant, even though her metal isn't afraid of melting. But what can be done if it gets corroded? Amai boasts, "My element is far from being corroded." Go Nyang now realizes that her metal is non-metal energy, sulfur, and copper energy. The combination of these two energies is indeed dangerous. I still don't qualify to participate. In the battle between energy warriors, Sim Yong-hee remains calm. That's right. You are correct. My Qi-Long zombie truly cannot match your abilities. But do you think I can only control metal? What? Go Nyang stutters. What did you say? Sim Yong-hee gently releases a pill, which softly breaks in two, with energy radiating from it. Go Nyang is stunned, thinking, is that really Crypto Zoom? You plan to play the sneak card, letting them fight each other while you escape first. The other two, seeing it's tough, plan to retreat immediately. Metallic energy rushes in. Hurry up. Sim Yong-hee won't let them have their way. It's too late to run now. A gigantic metal arm takes shape, chasing after Amai, who is fleeing. She tries to use her special ability to block it, but everything seems too much for Amai. The shield she created shatters. Amai is knocked away, her body covered in wounds. Right where she falls, she encounters Go Nyang, who is also running away. He is momentarily stunned by this scene. Both silently look at each other, with Amai's face showing fear. He finds it hard to understand. She seems afraid of him. That's right. They don't know my true intentions, only that I came with Sim Yong-hee. I'll pretend to be a bit intimidating. Who knows, it might help. Suddenly, Sim Yong-hee shouts, "Don't move." The pressure from the mech she created is truly powerful. Go Nyang watches, his face turning pale. Even Amai is terrified to the core. She screams, "Help me. As long as I don't die, tonight I'll sleep with Mr. Go Nyang." Behind her, all she can do is chant, "Eternal Thui is not a mistake, Amitabha." Go Nyang desperately thought, "I'm done for. Wolves in front, tigers behind. Am I really going to bite the dust here today? If there's a next life, I will definitely kill that damn system, even if my bones rise up." Sim Yong-hee's mech spoke up. "Lieutenant Thumb, my subordinate has subdued these two. The rest is up to you." You admired her. She really was cunning, switching identities between herself and you. Just to probe me, you came to this workshop, and you can also control the opponent. But am I just a free tool for you to use? Go Nyang exclaimed. Tough day. Tao prepared to fight Amai. Let's see AI versus AI today. Stay out of this. Leave this woman to me. Amai, mouth twisted, resigned to her fate with Sim Yong-hee. I can't believe you did that. The Mac Ding group, through surveillance cameras, was incredibly shocked. So strong. I'm AI? What's going on? What should I do? Where am I? Where do I need to go? Did AI write the script or was it from before? I want to go home. Huang was so scared he stuttered. Electric. Electric. Hurry up and call the boss. Mac Ding was not doing any better. Yeah. I'm calling right now. He reported. The boss is in trouble. A psychotic patient has arrived at the workshop. She can manifest metallic energy. Officer Makoto and Gertho are dead. Sister Amai is about to die too. The workshop is about to be gone as well. Ya-eun hung up after hearing this news. Dang Daok was surprised. She said, "That lieutenant from the Alliance. Right now, it's very possible he's at the workshop." "What's wrong?" she asked Dang Daok warily. "You haven't given that thing to Jin Cheonong yet, have you?" He frowned. "What do you mean?" Ya-eun replied, "Nothing. I know you want to cooperate with the Alliance. But think about it. If the lieutenant from the Alliance dies at that workshop, can you still cooperate with the Alliance? My original plan was to wait until you handed over the documents to Jin Cheonong, then blow up Jin Cheonong along with the workshop. In that way, your intentions would also be extinguished. But now, Jin Cheonong is not there, and it's the lieutenant from the Alliance. I can't let this opportunity slip away." Dang Daok placed a hand on his neck. Ya-eun threatened, "If you dare to play me, I'll kill you." She showed no fear. "Don't rush. Dang Daok loses a hindrance. It's not a good thing. How can you continue cooperating with the Alliance like this? We will help you. The Alliance is also helping you. What's wrong with that? The workshop is already loaded with explosives. Just one command from me. That lieutenant will definitely die. If the Alliance finds out you leaked information leading to the lieutenant's death, Dang Daok didn't care. Do you think you can control me like that?" She continued to manipulate. "Both sides are in the same boat. As long as we don't speak, no one will know why. The lieutenant dies there. You are still you, Dang Daok. All right, I'll take a step ahead. So you, if you've thought it through, then come to the factory and let's see if that lieutenant is still alive." Dang Daok sat up, accepting his fate. He grumbled and cursed. "Damn it, seeing Amai motionless, you're just trying to scare us. What's wrong? Aren't you coming over? Then I have to take action." After that, Go-nyang took a wrench and drew Amai's dazed face for a moment. I don't know what he's planning, but he pulled out a wrench to draw Amai's dazed face for a moment. Go-nyang raised it high with momentum, then slammed it down hard onto the lock at his feet. Finally, he ran away, leaving Amai in confusion. Later, when he encounters Sim Young-hee again, after taking her out, he'll go after Go-nyang. Where does he think he's running to? Go-nyang carefully observed the surrounding terrain. He noticed a black cat jumping under the pipe. "This isn't the black cat that just attacked me. Life is full of opportunities." With no time to think too much, Go-nyang jumped straight down, regardless of Sim Young-hee's loud curses. That despicable little man looked at the drainage ditch in front of her, muttering to herself, "But in front of an undefeated young lady. With both talent and beauty like me, do you really think you can escape?" Her expression was very confident at that moment. Go-nyang, similarly, was equally confident and replied, "Down here, you won't catch me, not to mention the gold. That giant creature can't squeeze into a tiny place like this, and this pipe leads to all directions. Finding me is like searching for a needle in a haystack. Even if I don't complete the mission, I'll be penalized, but it's still better than dying." Sim Young-hee threatened Go-nyang, "You can't run. Confess your purpose, and I'll consider letting you die peacefully." Go-nyang was speechless. "Still chasing me? I've already gone down this filthy pipe and you won't let it go. Does the lieutenant of the Alliance have no shame left?" He started daring her to chase him away. "If you catch me, don't just make me confess. You can use me as a joke if you want." After a while of probing, Sim Young-hee realized she hadn't run far at all. She unleashed her powers. Blocks of metal began to grow larger, chasing after Go-nyang. He had no idea what to do in this situation. As the iron element formed and moved toward the target, they had giant, solid bodies and overwhelming numbers. Go-nyang was stunned. Is this even possible? He misstepped and fell backward. The pack of iron dogs noticed this and rushed toward one direction. The leader remained silent, listening to the situation. It surfaced from the manhole cover. Go-nyang ran for his life, muttering, "Am I mistaken? Can they really chase me like this? Could an energy warrior even give energy products a sense of smell? Energy warriors really are impressive. I must become an energy warrior too." Sim Young-hee was pursuing closely behind, shouting, "You think you can escape from me? In your dreams." Go-nyang struggled to climb up, while the iron dog hurriedly tracked his whereabouts. Sim Young-hee followed behind. Go-nyang's face turned pale. "I'm done for." Looking at the stacked crates in front of him, he felt cornered. Unable to stay calm, Go-nyang kicked straight into the crates in front of him. Is this for real? Is there a dead end under the drainage pipe too? What kind of immoral, heartless pile of trash is this? Sim Young-hee called out from behind. "Running away? Not anymore. I told you, you can't escape from me. Now I'll give you 10 seconds. Quickly tell me your entire purpose and why you came into my room to ambush me." Go-nyang turned around, warily eyeing his opponent. Sim Young-hee hinted, "Or should I suddenly?" Her expression changed to panic as she called out to Go Nyang. "Get out of there. Hurry over here." Go Nyang hadn't realized the danger yet. "The stack of crates behind you just exploded." Go Nyang's shocked voice rang out. "What did you say? You can't be serious." "In that pile of trash is dynamite." The instinct for survival kicked in, and Go Nyang bolted away in an instant. "Hurry!" But Sim Yong-hee unleashed her powers, becoming surrounded. Go Nyang tensed. "No way? After all this time, you still want to play it safe?" Suddenly seeing her powers form a sphere around him, he realized it was protecting him. The next explosion erupted violently. Sim Yong-hee raised her fist, activating the metal sphere. The metallic orb appeared, enclosing them safely. Away from the blast, the great pressure sent it flying. Sim Yong-hee's entourage was blown up inside the sphere. The two of them staggered. Sim Yong-hee placed all the blame on Go Nyang. Great. Go Nyang ambushed the lieutenant for the third time. This time, he was definitely done for. Someone pulled on his collar. He quickly advised, "Wait, are you serious? I mean, you just saved me, and now you want to kill me too? Aren't you tired? Why go through all this trouble?" Sim Yong-hee coldly reminded, "Saved you? Dream on. I'm just keeping my word. I'll give you 10 seconds to spill, and you still have 5 seconds left. If you don't tell me the tricks and purpose behind your breaking into my room, I'll throw you out of here." The system calculation has only 5 seconds left to complete the mission. 1, 2, then there will be 3. Host, please make the most of your time. You were frustrated, taking it out on it, shouting, "Get the hell out of here." Sim Yong, he began counting down. 5, 4. Go Nyang gritted his teeth, thinking, "Women are indeed crafty. If it's going to be like this, don't blame me for being ruthless." The hand gripping his collar began to loosen. She looked pale. Could it be that Go Nyang was kindly reminding her? Did she forget? This is a water drain. A mouse popped up from his collar, and she saw it jumping towards her. Sim Yong-hee screamed in terror, holding her head. Go Nyang seized the right moment. It was now. He stealthily grabbed the wrench from behind, counting down. With only 1 second left displayed, Go Nyang looked like a demon. He swung the weapon high, delivering a strike directly to the mouse above Sim Yong-hee's head. Kill. Her eyes began to blur. Then, at the last second, Sim Yong-hee started to feel dazed. Her mind went blank for a moment. System notification. Congratulations, host has completed the nightmare difficulty mission. 1, 2, there will be 3. The system even remembered to display a congratulatory banner for him. This time, the host's reward is a mid-level treasure chest, and a 10% chance for a lucky draw. Go Nyang excitedly said, "I've been through the near-death experience before. With a 10% chance like this, isn't it basically a gift to you?" Spin, the system displayed. "Unfortunately, it's a black face, but please don't throw it away. Your face this time is very black, but next time it might be even blacker. Let's try hard, teenager. Now it will give you the prize. Soft tissues, delicate like silk, caring and thoughtful. Erase your late-night loneliness and wipe away your sorrow that surpasses your fate." You feel like you're being teased, so you grab the system and scold. "Damn it, I want your blood to flow like a river. So I risk my life just to exchange for a pack of tissues? It burns me up with satisfaction." Then he exclaimed a philosophically profound sentence. "It is that we can never have our way. At least you have the mid-level treasure now." The soul pill can cultivate the intensity of the host's soul and can increase the power of vision at any time. Hearing, smell, taste, touch. The stronger the intensity of the soul, the stronger the senses. The soul pill is enhancing the sensory powers for Go Nyang. Finally, it was completed, and he looked at the pill in his hand with satisfaction. Enhancing the power of the senses. Go Nyang cradled the soul pill like a treasure, although he wasn't very knowledgeable in the field of soul studies. But just talking about enhancing the 5 senses is already a pretty good reward. Now he finally noticed Sim Yong-hee lying flat below. The only question is when this Sim Yong-hee will suddenly wake up. The ropes were taken out of Go Nyang's living language, which is GA shielding that can't be ground to eat. It's still better to be cautious. Next, he tightly bound the opponent until she was completely wrapped from head to toe. Tighter than a sticky rice cake, Go Nyang felt satisfied. Like this, there should be no problem. Then, he began to consume the medicinal pill, lying flat on the ground, feeling it within his body. He started to feel this pain yet happiness again. Well, a minute passed and Go Nyang was safe. 5 minutes passed. Go Nyang couldn't help but open his eyes. Why is there no movement? Suddenly, his whole body stiffened upon hearing a sound. He sat up abruptly, guessing the sound of footsteps. Is it an illusion? Why is everything outside exploding? At least from a few hundred tons of cement built on top of this. Where could the footsteps be coming from? Waves of strange energy radiated from his body. The energy penetrated through each stone, the walls enveloping each room. In the end, Gonyang's expression was astonished. He saw the image of two familiar people. Ya-Yun spoke. "How do you see it, brother? Do we need to send someone to search around?" Dang Deok denied. "No need. He didn't expect it to be Dang Deok. He's outside. Not only did I see him, but I also heard them talking. This is the result of soul training and enhancing the five senses." Dang Deok revealed, "The appointment letter from the heavenly hero will be available tomorrow. The condition is 10 pieces for a month." Ya-Yun wasn't too pleased. 10 pieces from your alliance is quite a hefty appetite. Fine, let's go with his conditions. My identity makes it inconvenient to participate. How about I send 2 people over? Dang Deok waved his hand and said, "It's up to you." The vehicle immediately left. Looking towards Ya-Yun, Gonyang noticed her direction. This is the Northern Psychiatric Hospital. Seeing her enter a hallway, he was surprised by the secret passage. Ya-Yun gradually descended the stairs to a basement. This discovery shocked Gonyang beneath the psychiatric hospital. He didn't expect such a large base to exist. From the images received, Gonyang was stunned by what lay before him. An underground workshop, a toy factory of dreams, was actually built beneath the psychiatric hospital. The deity said, "In reality, this workshop is just bait. This pile of explosives is also." The next event left him dumbfounded. Opposite him, a person in a completely covered black cloak appeared, and he couldn't tell. Whether this person was male or female was also unclear. Getting a bit closer, suddenly as he approached the other person, that person looked up into the void. The images began to turn pitch black. Gonyang was startled and sat down on the ground. He still hadn't regained his composure. He couldn't believe the workshop was truly built beneath the psychiatric hospital. From the readings, it seems to be there, displaying on the screen for Gonyang: blood value 120 out of 202, energy value 100, 7 out of 150, elite ranking, energy value increased from 96 to 150. Did it really increase by 54 points in such a short time? The ranking is now elite. It seems I should choose nightmare difficulty missions more often in the future. With strength, there's motivation to take on missions, especially urgent ones. Now it's time to head to that underground workshop to earn 100,000. According to the terrain and the spirit, the energy I scanned earlier indicates that this pipe connects to the psychiatric hospital. Perhaps I can sneak from here to there. However, Gonyang hesitated, looking towards Sim Yong-hee. The problem lies in, if someone comes to monitor, it could be tough. Lieutenant Tham isn't because I lack GA skills, but my family's safety is very important. Offending him, you've stolen a person from her and obtained what you wanted. I promise that when the opportunity arises, I will definitely return it to you. I need to find the duo and make some money first. Sim Yong-hee had long since woken up. She wondered why this guy knew about the duo being carried on his shoulder. She decided that now wasn't the time to act. Let's see how it goes. Where are you planning to take me? Gonyang fumbled through the passage, looking at the map before him. He knew this was the layout of the workshop. At this moment, sweat was pouring down his face like rain, and his strength was gradually fading. Even Gonyang didn't understand why this was happening. In just 10 seconds, his mental energy had dropped by over 60, and there was less than 50 left. Continuing like this isn't good. Do I really have to exercise every 10 seconds? How about trying to reduce the coverage area of my mental energy? After trying it out, his field of vision expanded. He breathed a sigh of relief. It was indeed much better. It seemed he could control it within a 10 meters radius. Then, he continued to carry Sim Yong-hee away. Gonyang guessed they were almost at the mental hospital, just about 7 more meters. Another 8 meters down here, and it must be the underground workshop. I need to recover my strength first, then go look for that duo. Thanks to his keen senses, he felt the situation in the distance. Gonyang noticed that there seemed to be some AI digging something and used his vision to spot a few people excavating. He was stunned. Could it be a mineral duo? Could the mineral duo and that duo be in the same place? Regardless of whether it was or not, dig first and think later. With that, Gonyang carried Sim Yong-hee and dashed away. Once there, he quietly hid behind a wall, thinking to himself that he was just 15 meters away from the mineral duo. Right now, there are people guarding the mineral duo. Charging in there would be like signing my death warrant. Let's wait a bit. The system's hint said 2 a.m. So at 2 a.m., there should definitely be an opportunity. Looking at the display board, evolution at 2 out of 10. Can you guess? Clearly, I've completed 3 out of 10 missions already. Yet, evolution. 2 out of 10. Sacrifice Sim Yong-hee. A random mission, +1. Then 2 more will make 3. Is the random mission not increasing the progress? On the other side, the group was discussing among themselves. I'm going to take a break with Ann K. You two on guard here. Got it? It's us again. And Dan. We've been on guard for almost a week. By rights, we should switch. And Dan felt annoyed upon hearing this. Do you have any objections? They replied meekly. No, no, and Dan and NK, go take your break. We'll handle the guarding here. Watching the two leave, the remaining subordinates felt frustrated but could do nothing. They sat down to rest and sighed. We've been standing the whole day. I'm so tired and sleepy. Seeing both of them starting to doze off, Gonyang knew. It was at this moment that Sim Yong-hee immediately felt the mental energy surrounding her. She was astonished. This scumbag has mental energy? How can that be an illusion? What kind of game is this? I could escape in just 3 seconds, but this guy has taken my ability. Without energy support, there are many things I can't do. I should wait. He probably wants to go outside. Once he does, I'll regain my power. Seeing Go Nyang staring intently in one direction, Sim Yong-hee thought to herself, he probably wants to leave. Suddenly, he turned to look at Sim Yong-hee. Then, he struck her on the head before she passed out. She barely had time to think. How could this be? My acting. How could it be discovered? Go Nyang, with absolute vigilance, wondered, why does it feel like she just moved? Scaring me to death? You throw the person over your shoulder? Whatever. If I'm not dead yet, another stab won't hurt. The system notification appeared. Host successfully registered. Achieving an accomplishment as a bad flower will lead to a welfare mission with a certain probability of stirring up the bad flower. Go Nyang asked further, what is the welfare mission benefit? It replied, punishment for having no welfare mission. Rich rewards. The time limit for execution is extended. If the mission is not completed, there will be no penalty. Go Nyang contemplated past events, feeling that just doing something with Sim Yong-hee could yield considerable benefits. After the sacrifice enhances the innate ability, with just one tap, the bad flower can be found again. If I shoot once, I might just get it. System displays, 2 a.m. has arrived, friendly reminder to the host. Quickly accelerate the execution of the mission. Go Nyang began to prepare mentally for the task. Go Nyang stealthily pried open the sewer cover. Near where these two were sitting, you stealthily raised the wrench, preparing to assassinate them. 2 thuds rang out. Go Nyang looked satisfied as the 2 workers fell. With spiritual force, even if separated by a wall, I can clearly grasp their every move in the palm of my hand. I even murmured, today I am also a powerhouse, capable of seeing through the mortal world. Time is running out. I need to hurry. After digging for a while, I found it strange. This mineral deposit. The spiritual force revealed nothing at all. Although this pile of minerals looked ordinary, it must be hiding something inside. Finally, Go Nyang decided to dig frantically. Opportunities only come to those who seize them. I have to dig to find out if it's just a wasted effort. I'm digging. I'm making a big commotion over here. It has attracted Dan's attention. What the hell are you doing? Who is that? What are you digging in the middle of the night? What's going on? Making noise at this hour? Have you taken the wrong medicine? I'm talking to you. Turn around. Give me Go Nyang. Turn around and greet Dan. Since it's nighttime, I just want to work overtime a bit. Hearing you say that, he didn't make it difficult anymore. Another fool who doesn't know where he crawled out from. Let me tell you, if you can dig up 20 stones in a month, that's already impressive. This isn't about strength. It's about luck. Hurry up and go to sleep. Don't disturb my rest. So sleepy I could die. Go Nyang caught the key point, knowing that 20 stones meant there would be a golden egg here. Let's keep digging. You regained your focus, diligently digging in this golden patch of land. Go Nyang dug until dust was flying everywhere, his hands never resting. Then, he had to stop and sigh. After digging for 4 continuous hours, he still found nothing. Giving these 2 another stab wouldn't be a big deal. But if someone ends up dead, that wouldn't be good. The other 2 are still unconscious. Go Nyang is uncertain. What should I do? Should I come back tomorrow? But tomorrow definitely won't be as simple as today. In the end, you take the sledgehammer. Decided to dig for 1 more hour. If nothing happens, then I'll get out of here. Just then, someone approaches and greets. You guys are up early, Go Nyang says casually. I thought I was the earliest riser. I didn't expect there would still be someone up earlier. He wonders, have these people already gone to work? He continues, getting up early means there's food to eat. Go Nyang blends into the crowd, walking while feeling annoyed. The work hours at this factory start so early. So, what's next? This damn system keeps saying to dig and you'll make money? More and more people are coming. It's going to be very dangerous to stay here. I need to find a chance to leave. Just as he plants the sledgehammer into the ground, a mineral pops up. They are startled. A mineral. That guy picks one up and shouts, I found a mineral. I found a mineral. Go Nyang quickly smashes the sledgehammer right into the guy's face. Lucky me, and here's a little gift for you. Not stopping at just one guy, he takes care of the rest. He arrogantly carries the sledgehammer and says, "Which mineral is yours?" Clearly, I dug it up. You still dare to steal? Who dares to steal? Suddenly, voices from afar can be heard. Striking it rich. Who struck it rich? At this moment, Go Nyang finds himself facing a crowd of mineral workers. And Dan speaks up, "Turns out you got lucky too. Hurry, give me the mineral. A reward of 1,000 alliance coins is quite a lot for you." This cheap price makes him dizzy. 1,000 coins. And Dan commands, "What are you hesitating for? Hand it over." Suddenly, a reminder notification pops up. Detected a purple mineral. Medium grade quality. Market price is 356,981 coins. The system will buy back at 350,000 coins. The resource recovery feature will now be activated. Would the host like to recover immediately? His gaze is clouded by the 350,000. And Dan, of course, gets smacked in the face with a shovel. The whole group of workers gasps. They didn't expect someone to be so daring. They all look at each other, exchanging glances. Go Nyang sneers, 1,000 alliance coins. And you want to trade for a mineral worth 350,000? Do you think I'm an idiot? And Kay quietly steps out to observe the miserable state of his buddies. Then, he immediately squeezes the alarm button. Where are the people? Where are the people? The sound from the speaker echoes throughout the basement. And Kay announces, "There's a thief. Catch him. Whoever steals the mineral gets the reward." Hearing this order, everyone rushes toward Go Nyang. "Catch him. Catch him. The reward is mine." Alone, he takes on the entire group, skillfully handling each one with the sledgehammer in hand. And Kay thinks to himself, "This kid is too strong. Could he be a spy from another faction? How did the faction get to know of Go Nyang's movements?" Someone recognized NK. That guy is targeting him. NK immediately ripped off his outer shirt, revealing bulging muscles. He arrogantly said, "In front of you is the legendary NK. Can you run away? Let me tell you, don't even dream of it." Just after bragging, before he could showcase his skill, he got hit with a shovel. Go Nyang mocked, "Smart dogs don't block the road." The rest of the group was terrified. NK is the real deal. He could handle this with just one move. How should we fight, he thought, after breaking through his body's limits for the first time. Dealing with ordinary people is as easy as flipping your hand. Before, he didn't deal with monsters like Sim Yong-hee, but with capable fighters. Min has been holding back for too long. Who could stop Go Nyang as he swept through the crowd? Suddenly, from behind him, a light flickered from the ceiling of the tunnel. A whole pole slammed down where he was standing. The ceiling cracked open into a big hole. Go Nyang nervously ran away, encountering the energy soldier who was still scared as usual. That attack continued to chase him. He raised a mental shield to block the damage. One strike from the opponent grazed Go Nyang's shoulder. The energy soldier exclaimed, "Use your mental power. You anticipated my attack. A master, but you won't escape." The opponent finished speaking and immediately pursued Go Nyang. He tried to run toward the manhole cover. He must be a master, but a master can't fight against an energy soldier. Before jumping into the sewer, he didn't forget to say goodbye. "Master, I'm off." Go Nyang safely landed on the ground under the sewer. All that remained were the restraints, and he began to feel scared. Speaking of which, I only remember knocking out those workers. I seem to have forgotten to knock out Sim Yong-hee. Sim Yong-hee's voice behind him sent chills down his spine. "Back already?" She held a sword to Go Nyang's throat. "Shall we continue our game? For example, guess who you will die by first?" The system reminded him that the host was in life-threatening danger. Sim Yong-hee's intent to kill the host was very serious. "Do you want to activate the life-saving mission?" He angrily cursed at it. "My life-threatening danger is all because of you. Why act innocent with me?" Sim Yong-hee couldn't hear what he was mumbling, so the system intentionally repeated it. "Really don't want to activate it? Here's a hint for the host. If you're not happy, you'll die." Go Nyang smiled and gave Ra a choice. "Live another minute if possible. Activate it." The system update began, successfully refreshing the host's confirmation, activating the life-saving mission. "You can't go. Fight until dawn." Mission description. The opportunity is right in front of you. The man will truly